All right. What is good, everybody? Here we are, Unfiltered Reptiles Podcast, episode number 7. What's going on? It's your boy MJ. Before we get started, if you support this channel in any way, if you like what we're doing, all that stuff, please subscribe to the channel. Give us a like, comment, spread the word, let people know what we got going on. Let us know who you possibly want to see on the show too. You know, we're open ears for everything, but shout out to everybody who tunes in. I mean, we appreciate everybody. Now, if you guys aren't big on the YouTube, like we said before, click down in the description below, and then you'll see all the episodes we've done. Damn my dog. We're gonna see all the episodes we've done on Buzzsprouts, Apple TV, and all the platforms, Spotify. Give me 1 second. Jesus, dogs. Anyway, sorry, guys. So yeah, all right, guys. Tonight we have a special guest. We had to cancel David Levison due to some personal issues, but hey, man, we're gonna have him on again soon. So no problem, Dave. Take care of your stuff. Forrest can't join us either, but don't worry because we have the better half of Forrest, and that's gonna be Steven Cushington. What's up, Steve?
Not much, man. How's it going?
I'm happy that I didn't have to do this solo dolo. I'm happy you were, here to join and hop on and, peep out the guest we're going to have on tonight because he's a homie of yours. He's a homie of mine.
Oh, yeah.
He's a homie to everybody's, bro. I mean, everybody likes this guy.
Definitely.
Straight up. So let's just keep people not guessing anymore. But wait, before we do that, okay, something just rung in my head.
Right.
Yeah, Southeast CARPETFEST. Southeast CARPETFEST. If you guys support the research on nidovirus and to help our collection of pythons and all that stuff, you need to freaking support. You need to donate. Do what you got to do. Hit up Ian Bessel. I at first had nothing to donate. I was like, man, what am I going to do? But yet I have production that I could sell. So I went ahead and donated a $200 voucher. I'm going to freaking crank that up next year and really support what Ian got going on. Southeast CARPETFEST. Please, link in the description below. Just support, plain and simple. Am I right, Steven?
Yep, absolutely. Nidovirus is one of those issues that's plaguing pythons in general right now. And what they did last year with Southeast CARPETFEST really, made some waves and, raised a lot of money for research for nidovirus, which is importantly underfunded. So let's try to do even more this year to help, fix this issue that is curable. We can figure it out. It just takes some work and takes some dedication. You got the right people behind it with Fishhead Labs, Cody and Pia Bartolini. So support Ian, to support them, support everything we need to for nidovirus.
Yeah, plain and simple, guys. So make sure you hit up Ian Bessel. Like I said, he's the one running the show. And shout out to Ian for doing that, man. You're pressing hard, and I love that. Now, enough is enough. Special guest, the big homie, Triple Dipple. And there's Riley Jameson out of Riley's. Is it Exotics Reptiles, Riley? What is it? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Riley's Reptiles.
Well, fuck, man. There he is. He's in the flesh. Yeah. We're super excited to have you, man. A lot of people know who the fuck you are. A lot of people mess with you, man, like in a good way. I've heard nothing but positive things about you. So, just the fact that I was able to kind of come in contact with you and kind of build a relationship through social media is pretty awesome because, man, this is technically the Apadora fucking gang right here. We are. this is kind of like meant to be because here we are. This is like the empire of fucking people that we can start building. Anyways, man. So Riley, it's good to have you on, man. Go ahead and for the people who don't know who the hell you are, just kind of give us a little introduction, what you do and whatnot, and what you're kind of into, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Good to see you again. I got to see you in Anaheim, Steven. We missed you in the Cold-Blooded Cafe Reptech family out there, but I'm sure we'll get you at the next one. But so I keep various snakes and things. I've been keeping reptiles since I was about 9 years old when I got my first king snake. And then fell off a bit, was doing the teenage skateboarding thing, but always had animals around the house, everything. My house was always a zoo: cats, birds, dogs, rabbits, horses, whatever, geckos, frogs, everything. And then when I went to college in Santa Barbara, my first apartment, I finally decided I was going to get back into keeping reptiles at home. Got into keeping a couple of things, rescued a lizard, and got into rainbow boas then. And then I started volunteering at the zoo in Santa Barbara. And then a year and a half later, got hired on and spent 6 years down in Santa Barbara working as a reptile keeper. Then moved up to Sacramento 2 years ago. And almost a year ago, got hired on at the Sac Zoo as a reptile keeper, and I'm now their primary reptile keeper. And so that's what I do professionally. That's my 9 to 5. And then at home, I kind of do more or less the same thing. It's just, to my own desires and species and regulations. That's so true. Just reptiles 24/7.
Fuck. I mean, I've kind of had a taste of that, for the last, 6-7 months. I've been on disability. So, I still have my job and everything, but literally I've been, getting paid disability to be at home. And I mean, if I don't leave the house, I'm going to be in my damn snake room. You know what I mean? And to be honest, it's kind of like I have to drag myself out of that room sometimes because I'm just like, you need to leave these fucking snakes alone. Like, and then that's when I kind of go stir crazy. But I guess it's different for you because you're working, at a zoo, which, they're not your animals, but they are your animals, but, and you go home to what your actual mission is. Cause I mean, I just have a feeling you're in this for the long run. I feel like you're somebody who's I'm going to run into with fucking, either I'll be in a walker, you'll be in a walker, but we're going to just be like, fuck, what do you got for sale?
I'm going straight to wheelchair by 50. I'm calling it right now.
Fuck, dude. Hey, there's some legit wheelchairs out there nowadays. But,
hey, as long as I can still do wheelies in my wheelchair at 50, I'm good.
What's that wheelchair power game? It's like they like bash into each other.
Yeah, dude, they get crazy.
Anyway,
something.
We'll be doing that. 70 years old, but yeah, man. So working at a zoo. I mean, I can always tell you, I dreamed about working at a zoo. Ever since going to a zoo as a kid, and then you kind of find out that you can't get rich working at a zoo. Like you know what I mean? It's pure passion, but then again, you have the opportunity to work with stuff that nobody, like, you know what I mean? I can only imagine the shit you see. So it's kind of like. You know what I mean? You're doing stuff not for the money. You're doing stuff because this is like truly what you love to do, and you have the opportunity. And I think I think that's pretty genuine and it's pretty awesome, man. And I commend you for it, man, because you're like you said, you're reptiles 24/7. And as much as I want it to be 24/7, it's you know what I mean. I have my break away from it. You know what I mean? You have to you do it for a living to fucking eat. And then you also do it, because you have your own collection and stuff. So, how long have you been? Let's see, like how many animals you keep right now?
I'd say I probably have like 90 to 100 animals at home. Mostly snakes, and then because I just can't keep one thing, I've got a couple, little just pets here and there: African bullfrog, tortoise, some geckos. A couple tarantulas and insects, scorpions, things like that. I like, I just, my hat's off to the people who do only one species, but that's just not me. I need variety.
Get bored.
Yeah. So I, probably 100 individual animals here and maybe 20 various species.
Okay. And then Steven, I know God knows what fucking level you're at now, but before getting over to Forrest's place, where were you at? How many animals were you keeping? And then you were also going to school at the time too, right?
Yeah, I was full-time in college before I moved down here. And I think with offspring, I was at about 200 when I came down here. So
200.
Yeah, without probably like 120, 130. Mostly snakes.
And then one thing I'm sure you guys could all share, feeling wise, is like being overwhelmed, right? I mean, is there times where you fucking think to yourself like, what the fuck am I doing? I mean, does that cross your head at all? I mean,
liar.
Liar.
Everybody hits that point, man. That's just how it is. It depends on where you're at, because your life situation changes, and all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, I might have to move, or I might have to commit more of my time to work, or I'm going to make less money or something. And then you have these moments of panic.
Yeah.
I've definitely done that, and then got rid of entire projects and species, and then I miss them after.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. I mean, there's I mean, there's this certain I kind of had the first taste of like selling something that I instantly regretted selling, and like it like nearly messed with my sleep. And I'm like, damn, like, you know what I mean? Like, but then again, like, you know, it wasn't like it's my last year breeding, you know what I mean? But it's always the what if I never get to make a snake that looked just like that? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like the bittersweet, you know what I mean? But it also, you know, contributed to my goddamn wedding that's killing me right now. So
life ain't cheap these days, man.
The vicious cycle, bro. Especially living in California, bro. We're in Cali, dude. We're just eating us alive.
You know.
Jesus.
You know.
It's no joke. Especially we don't have the best reptile laws either.
Yeah.
Nope.
No venomous. Fuck, lame.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we can't do anything. It's crazy too, because California's laws, for the majority of species, there are permit holder limits and bag limits per day and stuff like that for certain species. But like with a simple $50-$60 fishing license, we could go get, you know, desert iguanas, horned lizards, southern Pacific rattlesnakes, you know, whatever we want. We can't breed them, and we certainly can't breed captive ones, because then you have to have a whole nother permit. But you can go take from the wild, which is kind of silly to me. They're like, you know, it's backwards. Like, why not promote the private propagation to reduce pressure on the wild?
Now, let me ask you this: are you pretty familiar with the process of applying for a permit, or, you know what I mean? I mean, do you know like what the actual restrictions are? You know what I mean? Because like I have, like, for instance, you know, I'm not going to ever take it to a point where I keep a lot of venomous, but you know, I you know, on the low, I do keep a venomous, right? And I don't want to have to worry about, you know what I mean, just any legal matters, right? So what would, in somebody in my shoes, right, like what would you suggest? Like, what's the best step you can take to actually make it where, you know what I mean, you don't have to worry about looking over your shoulder or some bitch social media ratting you out?
I mean, if you bought it from a breeder or a vendor or whomever, if you have a receipt of sale, first of all, that would like show that it was sourced from somebody. Any sort of documentation to prove that it was a captive bred animal would certainly, you know, nullify any issues, as long as it's a native, like crotolid, essentially. But there's nothing wrong with taking from the wild, because a lot of the native crotolid species aren't regulated, with the exception of like the red diamonds, the rubers. I know those are heavily regulated. You can't have those at all.
Right.
But you can effectively just go take a northern, like for me, where I'm up here, I could go out to Folsom Lake and pick up, you know, whatever the bag limit is for the day of northern Pacific rattlesnakes. I could fill up a bucket with like 6 of them or whatever. And they might have, I don't think they have any measurement limits, but you know, some states do, as far as like, it has to be like a timber head over 41 inches and it has to be a male or something like that. So it depends on the state, but California is native. As long as it's not a red diamond, all you need is a fishing license. And that's just like, if you're going to go somewhere and you pick something up from that lake or whatever, a native rattlesnake that isn't protected. Like if you go, I don't think any of them are, to be honest, other than the rubers, but yeah, I mean, seriously, it's that simple, just a fishing license. Now, if you were to try and breed something native, like a native, you know, rattlesnake, and then sell them, if a wildlife officer were to come to where you are selling them, or somehow get in touch with you or a buyer, you would have to then show proof of like producing those animals and provide a copy to the recipient, the purchaser of that animal. Otherwise, if you're just keeping one or two, it's like sometimes as complicated as a fishing license, which is you go down to, you know, your bait shop and spend $20-$50, whatever it is, depending on where you're at. And that's that.
So you're saying a fishing license is so legit to where it would allow me to go by a lake and pick up, as long as it's not a red diamond, I could go and pick up rattlesnakes, and what I could take it home. I could actually take it home and, you know, do what I do with it. And then
I mean, there's an online resource through the state that gives you like the details as far as what species have, because like if you have a permit, it will say that, you know, a permit holder can take X amount of animals of these species per day. Like this is your bag limit. It applies in the same way to fish as it does to terrestrial reptiles. So as long as it's not a protected species, there should be some information on the site that shows you, like, if you have your fishing license, you can collect this many animals and have this many in your possession in your household total. This is your total daily bag limit sort of thing. And that's that. It's really that simple. The crazy thing is nobody's going to come knocking on your door doing that. So I'm not suggesting for anybody who might be watching this to say, screw it, I'm not going to get a permit. Go get the permit, because like it goes into local government, that goes into, allowing you to keep doing this. And if something, were to come into question, you'd be a fantastic example of a reptile keeper who's abiding by the law. And that would be, something that probably wouldn't make it into the news, because only the sensationalized stuff does. But that's still a good thing, right? But yeah, again, it's like a very low priority for most counties, unless you get into those areas where they don't have like a big city and a lot of crime, and then they have resources to devote to that stuff. But yeah, a fishing license is usually all you need. Like, I know a guy in town who keeps a couple Northern Pacific rattlesnakes, and he's just got a fishing license. I know a guy back down in SoCal, who I see every time I go to the shows, who keeps a couple Southern Pacifics. Another thing that isn't regulated, you don't need a fishing license or anything for, are albinos. Our state just determines that albinos are just not natural, or they wouldn't survive in the wild anyway, and they just don't care to regulate them. So you could own an albino, whatever California species of diamond or rattlesnake, and they would just
still need the fishing license.
I don't think you would need a fishing license for that one. I think that is just like whatever.
I know somebody who has an albino, and like he's not even tripping about having like a permit or anything. But like,
that's fine.
That's nuts.
Yeah, I don't know who decided the rhyme or reason among California's laws for that. Some of them are logistical when you read them. Some of them are just goofy.
Let me tell you the thing. My first encounter with the law, right? Well, actually, this is a lie. This is like more than my first time. But I was like 13, 14 years old, and there was a spot. My grandma lives in a city called Imperial Beach, which is right next to Tijuana. Like it's pretty close. So their beach connects to a mouth that goes to the ocean into an estuary, and right across is actually, if you cross that mouth and go over, you're in Tijuana, and there's like a bull ring and all this stuff. But there's an estuary in there, and that's where it's like you're not allowed to fish in there at all. That's where halibut go and like lay their eggs and stuff like that. But I knew that's where the big fish were.
Yeah.
So anyways, this was somewhere where you had to walk about 3.5 miles on foot to get to this spot. You can't drive, obviously, but this is a spot I knew about since I was 12. And I used to walk down there every summer with my friends. Eventually started going solo. And then I ended up catching a 4-foot halibut.
Nice.
Took me 45 minutes to bring in, right? Straight off the shore. So anyways, I bring in this halibut. I'm so stoked. I was by myself. I hooked it onto a stick and basically start walking. And then here come the lifeguards. Lifeguards came, right? And they're like, where'd you pull that from? And you know what I mean? They were kind of scouting me, and they knew where I was at. So
yeah.
But I had an attitude, you know what I mean? Go figure. I had an attitude, and I was like, dude, fuck off. Like, they're like, you need a license for that. I'm like, yeah, but I was trying to say I was under. I think you had to be under. I forgot, but there was an age, and I had just break that age to where they wrote me a ticket for it. But if I would have known, you know what I mean? If I would have known as a kid how important that stuff was, not really the estuary thing. I mean, hey, I was a kid. I wanted to big fish. But like getting a license and like being, safe about it and stuff like that. Like, I didn't really know like the whole idea. What's the purpose of getting a license, and what's like, why is it beneficial? So I was a lot older, you know what I mean? So, I mean, one thing I want is just to start passing information like this down to the youth, you know what I mean? Down to kids because I mean, think about it. How many young breeders out there are straight kids now? They have the Instagrams. They're like 12, 13, 14 years old, and they have really cool snakes and stuff, and they're learning about stuff. But like we're in a position where we could actually start teaching this stuff to more kids, getting them more involved in animals, getting them more involved in snakes, but more importantly, understanding like conservation and stuff like that, like the purpose of owning a license. And I mean, I don't know. I just think it's pretty important.
Yeah. I mean, it's really easy to find out this information. And honestly, like I grew up with a sort of an FTP mindset as a kid, just not a fan. And yeah, exactly. So that's always been how I grew up. And then as I started shifting more into animals and kind of understanding the role that like the law plays in that and its importance and things, and I was like, okay, I get it. I support that. And yeah, I mean, those officers that would be the ones like having to respond, like the wildlife officers or Forest Service people or whomever, they're often just, people just like you and I, and they don't know quite as much about these animals, and they don't want to have to deal with this stuff too. Like they actually really appreciate it when they find somebody who's like in line and prepared and knows their stuff and is like open and welcoming and like shows them how cool these animals are. Cause they're like, dude, that makes their job a whole heck of a lot easier. So
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Steven, you're talking way too much right now. You need to
right?
You need to fucking wait your turn, dude. But no, Steven, Steven, obviously that, I honestly, I roast Steven, but I also give him a lot more props than I roast him. And that's 100.
Not publicly though.
What? Doubt it? No, I'm just okay. So Steven, what I want to ask you, Steven, is, obviously you've been in the game ever since you were like, how old? Like, were you always collecting reptiles at a young age, or like when did it start?
I got my first reptile when I was 9. When I was about 8 years old, I started like getting into everything online and learning about it, and discovering the whole world of herpetoculture. So it's been a minute, over half my life I've been involved in this.
Now, I mean, Riley, when you were younger, were you all about going out and about and like herping for snakes and shit? Or I mean, something you always did?
Yeah. My mom used to she used to take us out to the horse stables rather than leave us alone at home, because I would play with matches and things like that. And so she would take us out there to keep an eye on us, but she'd let us just roam free around this area. And I'd go like hopping fences down into these gullies and find these little muddy rivers and stuff and catch frogs and like newts and stuff out there. And then my first encounter with a wild snake was a gopher snake out there. And I was walking a trail and this thing just came cruising through the grass. And I just stopped and I just like squatted down to look at it and just passed right through my legs and kept cruising on its way. And I was just like, my mind was blown. And I was just like, all right. And so after that, every time she would take us out there, I'd just go looking into the areas that weren't like manned and groomed, and I'd go looking for animals and catch stuff. And my mom was like a super like granola bohemian type of woman, and she still very much is. Like, she still rides horses. She's 60. She's a badass, and she's the one who instilled like the love for animals on us. And so she's the one who would like clean the turtle tanks that we had when we were like 4 and 5, and so she was the one who like was all about having pets in the house, and she like totally fostered that. And it was just like after her like teaching me all of that and raising us up around horses, it was just it was a natural gravitation for sure.
Dude, what is it about like, okay, so one of the biggest badasses I have in my family is my Aunt Christine. Okay, she lives back east and she owns like a horse ranch. But what is it about women and horses that just make them so freaking hardcore? Like the toughest of the toughest women that I've ever encountered are horse. Like they work with horses. Yeah. And man, my Aunt Christine has like these Belgium, like these gigantic horses. And her husband's like, he's cool with them, but he ain't down there putting in the work that she is, But she's like solo doing this, and she's just a rugged lady, but she's the most awesomest lady in the world. And it's like, man, it's very inspiring. You know what I mean? It's like, man, that's like, you want to talk about girl power and woman power? Like, that's the shit. Like, that's when I'm like, it's pretty. I mean, that's cool that you said that, because it reminded me of my Aunt Christine. So shout out to Aunt Christine. Shout out to your mom too.
Yeah, it takes a certain kind of
your mom, Steven.
Command a 1,000, 1,200 pound animal,
Yeah.
And then I don't know, man, those animal like that,
I don't know. What killed it for me though was I got stepped on twice.
Yeah, like that. Like
both my big toes, like 2 separate times. And I'm telling you, the first time I'll never forget this. My mom's horse, she still has him to this day. He's an absolute sweetheart. He's the one I learned to ride on and everything. Steps on my foot while like tied up to a hitching post, and he's just eating. And it like a split second later is when I feel the pain, and I'm like, ah, and I'm like beating on the horse. I'm like socking him in the shoulder blade, and the shoulder blade is like, this big, and he doesn't even care. He's like oblivious. I had to push his face to get him off of me, dude.
Oh, dude,
like
that's
so brutal, and like
terrible.
Nah, I like, you know, some big animals are fun, but like, dude, something that can just like stomp you out like that.
Nah,
I'm good.
Yeah. So it's, and then it, you know, brings up my other, you know, like, you know, I got freaking reality checked when I went over to Corey, you know, Corey AYMAR from Toothless Reptiles.
Yeah.
So, you know, before actually going to Corey's place, I was like all about, yeah, I want to monitor. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then I met Corey. Corey's like, yeah, come over to my place. And that's when I was like, my first encounter with a monitor that was at over 5-6 feet. And then I think Onyx was full of eggs. He pulled her out and threw her on me. And at that time, Onyx was super just like, I mean, she's always a chill monitor, but I held her and I was just like, I couldn't believe what I was holding. Like just the feel and touch of a monitor's skin that big. It's like you almost like asking, like, what the fuck am I touching right now? It's like,
dude, it's a dinosaur.
They start climbing on you and it's like, oh, that hurts, but you almost want it just to keep going. And you're just like, and they're like on your head. So that I had that. And that's when I was kind of like, wow, man, this is like, yeah, it's a lot of upkeep. You know what I mean? They're huge. And then I went back to his new facility with FORREST. And then I went to go stay up to Onyx again. And, you know, FORREST went like that under the chin. I was like, well, I'm cool with Onyx. I think I could do that. And I fucking walked up with my phone. Dude, she rushed my phone. And she went, bam! And just like, she put like these teeth engravements into my plastic of my phone. Anyways, that's his nicest monitor. And even Corey was like, dude, I've never seen her do that before. Like, she's never done that. And then he had his biggest croc monitor fucking rush me, dude. And or like almost like we were all just around. And as soon as I get close, for whatever reason, I don't know what the fuck I did, but as soon as I get close, turns around and like is ready to go to war, dude. But honestly, bro, that experience scared the living shit out of me. I have now put the black dragons, whatever they're on the shelf super high. Because it's like, man, you don't know what you're getting yourself into until A, you buy one and something happens, shit hits the fan, or B, you go experience it yourself, which I highly recommend. I mean, if you want to get into monitor keeping, it's kind of like Chondro or anything else. Like, you want to just do your research first, understand what you're getting yourself into, and then like get yourself some experience. You know,
especially with bigger monitors, it's almost like venomous. You know, what's the best starter? Someone else's. You know, find a mentor. Yes, I worked with them in my old job, but like working with the croc monitors here and especially the tricolor monitor, I'm like, I'm just waiting for the day where I lose my first finger. Like, it's gonna happen.
That's top shelf. And now I'm glad you stepped in to talk about this, Steve. Like, I was really thinking like you're the perfect person to talk about this because like you have experience with reptiles and you have this intuition for it, and then you move down to FORREST place and you get thrown into the fire because you're not only dealing with just tree monitors, which I've taken one of the worst bites to date from a blue tree monitor, by the way. That was awful. My knuckle was out of commission for like 2 months. Jeez. But you're getting to see it firsthand in like a best case scenario and learn in the safest way with like those young crocs. And like it's not totally safe. Like nothing ever is with big monitors, but like you really do have the perfect way to do it. And I see so many people go about it the wrong way at first, and then they have the harsh reality about it. So
it's also just picking the right animals. You know, FORREST is always big on getting, you know, captive bred or captive born babies, which works most of the time. You know, like they're generally a lot more chill. But our male croc monitor, who we raised from a tiny little baby, he's a monster. That thing is
still
already scary. Yeah, we started him in the wrong kind of enclosure. We gave him a little too much space, too much ability to get away, and kind of promoted that behavior we didn't really like. So
dang,
yeah, it's, you know, it would just take some work. It's just there's always moving parts around here. You know, sitting in front of a monitor for 2 hours on a Monday isn't the easiest thing when you got the rodent business as well. So
Monday's your busy day.
Yeah,
a
little bit.
So,
but it's really, you know, it's amazing to get that experience with these animals. There aren't not many people have the eclectic group that, you know, that FORREST has put together. But you know, it every now and then little mistake happens or, a close call, and it just really puts everything in perspective. Like, oh man, that could have really ended poorly. But
yeah, I had a really, really like serious close call that could have been really bad with an adult water monitor back in Santa Barbara. And the backstory behind this animal is he was found on a like below freezing temperature day in Santa Barbara on the side of the freeway in a ditch by animal control. And after 7 days, nobody claimed him. Jeez. And I had gotten a tip from somebody. I went and checked him out on my day off, and he was in immaculate condition. He was clearly a captive bred animal, somebody's pet. But at this size, he was, tip to tail, he's probably almost 3 feet long. And so probably a year or so old, maybe more. And the zoo was actually looking for a water monitor or some sort of big lizard at the time. We ended up having our vets evaluate him, and he was in great condition. So we brought him in for a long quarantine, and I was able to socialize him and get him up to the point where, he's a pretty trustworthy lizard now for the folks who've taken over since I left. But I had a very close call with him when I was doing some training with him. I was doing some target training to reinforce good positive reinforcement and encouraging behavior when hands were coming near him, when he was on a branch at like head height, because he was cool if you were on the ground, but as soon as he's climbing this log to reach him, I don't know if it was just because he felt like he was at eye to eye, but like he would whip and like get really like touchy about it. But I was feeding him, and I was doing some basic target reinforce, and I was fuddling over like the bucket of rodents that I was going to feed him, and I left my hand up here while I was looking down, and I felt this super, super intense pressure on my wrist. Like all of a sudden somebody closed a vise on my whole wrist, and I looked over, and sure enough, he's got my whole wrist in his mouth.
Jeez.
And I had to like give him another rodent to trade him to let go. Meanwhile, he's like pulling my arm away to try and like take it and eat it. And I was like, dude, no. You know what saved me? I was wearing like a random paracord bracelet that my roommate had made for me a couple months prior. It was like a big, fat, thick one. He got all of the bracelet, and like a few teeth cut me like right around here and there.
Jeez. But
like after I wiped off the blood, I realized how lucky I got, because his main teeth tore up that paracord bracelet. Yeah. And if he'd have got all of this, if I hadn't woken up and been like, I'm gonna wear this today, hospital trip for sure.
Anyways, which brings me to my next topic. Ball pythons. I'm just kidding. No, I was listening to everything you were saying, by the way, Riley. Target, monitors. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. I don't think it's for me right now. I think I'm going to fucking hold off. I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to wait until I have a better encounter with one, or until, it makes sense. But
they're fun.
They're awesome. I mean, I love watching them on your fucking stories, Steven. And trust me, it's the whole reason why I started wanting to keep one was because of stories I watch on, Forrest's feed and Steven's feed, and, goddamn Joe SWITALSKI's list that he puts out, and
oh my god,
it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, now that tricolor monitor, okay, that thing, obviously that's like levels of monitor keeping, because that thing is this. I heard their bites hurt through the glove. Like I heard,
like
no matter what protection you have on, they hurt.
That's probably the scariest reptile I've ever worked with. I feel
scary. What makes them so scary?
Never experienced an animal that fast.
Damn.
And they're like, I knew how fast it was. One time I had to go grab it, and it darted from like its high perch all the way to like almost the front door. Like blink of an eye would be, underestimating how fast it is. Like it was just ridiculous. It was freaking scary. The bites are insane too. Any of them in that complex, like the Dorianus and all that, their bites are insane. But seeing this thing hold on to the glove for like half an hour at a time, it was like, what the hell do I do if it bites me? I gotta like chop its head off or something. I'm not gonna do that, obviously. Like, what? How could you get it off? Like, you're like, all right, by finger. Like it's
I
just,
got rodents to shit, motherfucker.
exactly. At least my concerns, but yeah.
What about you, Riley? What's your most locked out monitor you've ever encountered, or had to deal with?
I mean, the blue tree monitor before she went to another facility, she was pretty crazy. She was fast. She would, dart pretty quick. You had to be on one and wear welding gloves. Those guys, I've had my butt kicked by a water monitor a couple times. Like I've been whipped pretty hard. Like an adult. Yeah, I've been whipped across my butt a couple times really hard, and then like woke up the next day with big welts across my ass. Yeah, real bad. Honestly, I haven't worked with quite as many species as I would like. But
you know what trips me out is like you guys saw that Tom Crutchfield bite, right? Like a couple years back that he put out, and I've seen other incidents of bites. You know what I mean? And every time they say what kind of bite it wasn't even a full bite. It was like a straight, like little nit, like it was a scared, because they're scared animals. Like the crocs are very like, they're spooked. I heard they're spooked type animals. So
yeah,
they don't bite you to really chomp. They just bite you to like, hey, leave me alone. But just that little bite fucking shreds you, dude. Like the guy's hand looked like meatloaf. It looked like,
dude, it looks so
bad.
bad.
If you guys haven't seen it and you're not grossed out, go check it out. I mean, just YouTube Tom Crutchfield bite. I think Kemp guy put it out or something like that. But anyway, it kind of gives you, it snaps a reality in your eyes, like how serious these monitors can be and what you're getting yourself into. Yeah. If you're really about it, then like I said, do the research and pursue it. But just understand, like, I kind of like, I got, let's see, what's a snake I keep that it's worth keeping? And I sold that snake. So I had a retic that was 12 feet. And ever since I got him, he was just a snake that was ready to breed. He was a proven breeder. And no matter what size enclosure I put him, no matter how much I fed him, all he wanted to do was get out of the cage or like straight fuck up whatever wet was in that cage. You know what I mean? Occasionally you could take him out and, he understands, okay, no one wants to, harm me, but he just wants to get away, and he's a big ass powerful snake. And then he gave my dad 17 stitches. My dad took a bite from him. But like, my dad's, it was the kind of thing where my dad was like, you know what, I messed up, my bad. And this is why blood's coming out. And I'm like, fuck, this is nuts. You know what I mean? But that was something where we understood like why it happened. You know what I mean? And we still were like, look, it's not the snake's fault. Like nobody blamed the snake for it happening. You know what I mean? And it's just like, you take responsibility of keeping a snake like that. And if shit does happen, it's not the animal's fault. You know what I mean? I can tell you how many times that happens with dogs, another thing where it's an animal. You know what I mean? It's not, you know what I mean? There's so many people who hate certain species of anything because of, incidents that happen, but they don't, people don't connect that they're fucking animals. You know what I mean? These are animals that you're dealing with.
Yep.
So,
if you're not prepared for the worst, you just shouldn't keep it in the first place.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
It's just I'm saying, like, I don't know. It's right. If you can't handle the worst, not only prepared, but if you can't handle for the worst to happen, if you're not ready for that to happen, which you know what I mean? Like it's like
it's inevitability. It's not like if it's gonna happen, it's when it's gonna happen, really. Monitors, big snakes, especially like crocodilians, we got 10 species over here. Whenever I put up stories, I'm like, oh, how much is one of those? What's the smallest cage I can keep in? It's like, yeah, I'm showing you a Cuban crocodile right now. Like this thing can jump over like a 5-foot fence. Like
I've seen those things run at full speed, dude. That's terrifying. Bro. Yeah, it's really scary.
Like it can jump out of our freaking holding tubs, like double the height of them.
Dude, they're so nuts.
Man, if this thing got me, I'm in the hospital for a bit. Like, they're sketchy. Like.
Yeah,
like a 0.001% of reptile enthusiasts should even be in a position to work with an animal like that.
For real.
Nonetheless, in their basement or whatever.
No.
Mom's basement. Riley, real quick. Like I was saying in the intro, I was saying like how a lot of people fuck with you, man. A lot of people like you. I've heard nothing but positive things with you. And a lot of people that go to the shows, like you've been going to shows for quite a while. Like you're well known at the shows, hands down. You fuck with Cusco. Cusco's there all the time and whatnot. Dave Cuffman and all those dudes. So how did you get your foot in the door, man? Because I'm sure there's people out there that would love to. I'll tell you this. I mean, there's a lot of awesome people in the community, but there's a lot of people who are reserved and they don't know how to like take the first step. So what did you do? Like, well, how did you, get in? How did you get cross paths with the people you hang out with now?
I mean, it was all just by pure chance and just luck, I guess. I mean, I found the reptile show scene probably in 2012, 2011, something like that. And started going to the Pomona show and some of the Orange County shows because I was living in Santa Barbara at the time. So I could make a day trip, 2-hour drive or whatever to most of those shows. So I started just going once I learned of them. And then that's when I started figuring out I wanted to keep snakes and then started exploring different species and rainbow bows, Cree bows. I went deep into ball pythons like twice.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I had like 30 or 40 of them at one point, and then for a few years, and then sold them off, and then missed them, and then got them again, and then got over it again. But so I started just going and saying hi to the same people I would buy snakes from, or just saying hi to people. And then what really helped me get connected was there was a local shop in Santa Barbara by the name of Sensational Pets that's still there. Mm-hmm. The owner, Sean, has since just recently sold it to a new young guy who's doing really well with it. But he started that, and he ran that for 14 years. And he started getting into the show scene right around the same time I was getting into working at the zoo down there. Yeah. So then I started, offering to help him out at shows every time he would go. If I had the vacation time at work and I could, plan ahead, I would put in time off at work. And so I'd still get work pay. And then I'd go down to the show and help him sell stuff at the booth and work his booth. And he was, basically setting up shop with all the hard goods stuff there. So I started getting to know people that way, network that way, meet the show promoters, meet some of the vendor regulars. And then all this time I started meeting other people in the carpet python community online. So, social media was a huge way to network with people that, weren't necessarily in my neighborhood. And there weren't a lot of people in Santa Barbara, but what I found out quickly was there are a lot of people in California. Southern California has a big scene, but then there are some people just a little bit up the coast for me that I found out, like Travis Johnson. And he lives, 15 minutes away from Brian. So he introduced me to Brian. And then, I met folks like Terrell and April down in Thousand Oaks. And basically just by putting myself out there in the show scene and just trying to go to all these shows, even if I was just, going to pick something up for the first few times, I ended up finding out that I enjoyed being behind the table and working, because that was when I got to network the most and meet the most people. So whatever avenue people can do to put themselves out there, like if you've got a big show scene in your area, become a regular, find some people that you can help, offer your time over the weekend to help set up and clean up their booth and just meet people. And that's usually the first step. And then once you do that, your trajectory will evolve on its own. Like if you are genuine and you love it and you're into it, and you just let it ride and you just put yourself out there as much as possible, you're going to have the best time. Because if you're comfortable just meeting other people in the reptile hobby and opening it up a little bit, you'll find that there's a lot of other people just like you out there. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of goes as it does, and the social media thing, like I started just putting photos on Instagram once I learned what that was. And then it evolved into this whole Riley's Reptiles thing. And then it turned into like an actual breeding initiative, and that was its own natural evolution, because like I learned about the private scene, then I learned about keeping all these species, and then I learned about breeding, and then I learned, you could do this, and there's an industry about this, but don't get too crazy. And, and then you go through your own cycle, you pay your dues, you earn your lumps as you go, you make your mistakes, you fall on your face, you speak up too much on social media and you get clapped back or whatever it is, we all go through it, dude. So, and then if you just keep an open mind and just try and enjoy it, you just go through, and like everybody's whole world in it is totally different, but we're all intertwined, and it's just a ton of fun. Yeah. So I would say just put yourself out there And if you're an introverted person who's like kind of shy, don't worry. There's also a lot of people walking around reptile shows that won't say a word to any of us, but they're all just like us. But that's okay. You know,
they're there.
We have this common thread, you know, so it's like, it's really cool. Everybody's there.
Oh,
you know?
man. So the last reptile show, there was one time at Triple B booth, the other time at DM Exotics, where I just felt like there was fucking eyes on me. Have you ever had that feeling where you're like, dude, someone's watching me? Like, I just feel like eyes are on me, right? And every time I would turn around, it was, you know, I didn't know that, I never knew the person, but it was a guy in a shirt. He was wearing the Chasing the Cure shirt, you know, the JKR shirt.
Yeah.
So he's wearing one of those shirts. I was like, dude, I feel like either he wants to say something to me or whatever. So I feel like he was following me. So sure enough, like, you know, I think this is after I hung out with, you know, I don't think I could say his name. But anyways, we had a good time up in his room. We smoked, right? And then I was walking down and I was like, all right, I got to use the bathroom. So sure enough, we go to the bathroom and then there's that guy and we come face to face. And I'm like, what up, man? And he's like, and I'm just like, what's up, man? My name's MJ. And he's like, and like he just nodded his head and just took off. And I was like, I kind of felt bad, you know what I mean? Because I don't know. I just didn't know if there was something I was doing that was making him like, you know, not want to approach me. But we finally approached each other, and I didn't even get to know his name. I didn't get to know anything about him. I just knew he was on me for the majority. And you know, and then like, you know, like I said, it's like you said, we have so many different types of people in this community. But the best thing to do is just kind of just, you know, take that first step forward, because you never know who you're going to meet. You never know who you're going to run into, or actually, you know, who you're going to meet after that. Because I was kind of reserved too. You know what I mean? I had my, you know, I only knew a couple people going into my first show, and I didn't really put myself out there. I just hung out with those couple people. And then the next show following after that, I was just like on my own. And you know what I mean? That's when a whole game, I don't know. How did we meet, Riley? I forget.
You know, it was.
Well, you know what? I think it was. You know what? We met finally in person, the Pomona, where you didn't make it Saturday. You weren't there Saturday. You were fucking out of commission. But I ended up seeing you Sunday, and Sunday you were just like, oh.
I was better.
You was a lot better, but you were just like, man, fuck Saturday. You were just MIA. But that's the first time I ever met you, was that Pomona, that Sunday following the disastrous Saturday that
the worst day of my life.
Jesus. But you know, no regret.
Sorry, Cusco. I didn't mean to puke in the trash can at your booth.
It's like, yeah, right. I was puking in a trash can this morning because I was like, "Where's Riley at?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I guess you're obviously supposed to help him. So,
yeah, I was up napping because I was destroyed.
I was hurting too. I think everybody was hurting that day, bro. A lot of people were hurting that day.
Yeah, it was bad.
But you know, those are the kind of stripes you earn. When you earn those kind of stripes at a reptile show, that's when you really meet the people you should meet. That's when you bond with people, man, is when you're there just, you know, on the after hours, especially at a freaking auction. You know what I mean? I could tell you right now, auctions are, man, they're fun. You know, they're fun, but that's when you really kind of, everyone's loose, you know, and everyone's just like mingling, and it's kind of like, you know, I'm getting a lot of talking to people at auctions. Auctions are really awesome to be at.
Yeah, even if you're not buying anything, honestly, it's like the social aspect of it all.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I hear you. And actually, I experienced my first show going home empty-handed. It was pretty depressing. But at the end of the day, whatever I was going to take went home in your hands. So
your wallet feels better, though.
Yeah, actually, you're right. That could have started something that I just wasn't ready for. So it is what it is. I'm happy. Let's talk about the Oppadors now that we're bringing them up.
Yeah,
so, I own a female. Steven owns a pair, or just a male, Steven?
2.1.
Fucking bastard.
Dang.
Steven's sitting at 2.1, and then Riley's sitting at a 1.0, right? So I have the female, Riley has the male, and then Steven fuckerhead, damn silver spoon, Titanic silver spoon motherfucker has what you said, 2.1?
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. So real quick, recently Riley, inquired a really beautiful fucking male Apodora. Whoever doesn't know what that is, it's a Papana olive python from Dan over at DM Exotics. Whoever didn't go to the show, Dan's booth was fucking litty. He had some sick ass shit. I'm like, I just couldn't believe it. It was kind of depressing. I couldn't look at it too much, but he had some really cool stuff. Probably the only display of chondros I saw. I was pretty depressed. There wasn't that many chondros at the Anaheim show. But anyways, so Riley, sneaky bastard, pulled up Friday and swooped this beautiful Apodora before anyone could actually even look at it. And how's the little man doing, dude? Tell us.
He's good. He's eating every time I offer it to him. He's pretty active.
Nice.
He really is nothing like any other snake that I have. He's actually, I would say, he's a lot more like my my Cribos than anything in his behavior. Although he is more active at night and they sleep at night. But he's fun, man. He's so cool. I can't wait for him to come out of quarantine. I'm just kind of keeping him in the living room for now and just letting him, adjust and settle. But so far, everything's going in like it should. Everything's coming out like it should. And he looks like he'll probably be going into a shed in the next couple of weeks. So I'm excited to see that. He doesn't have very many blemishes on him. He's got a couple little, looks like something tried to nibble on him, maybe like a lizard. You can see some like jaw lines and a few things. But
dude, but it adds so much character.
Yeah, and it's really superficial.
That snake went through. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
it gets a lot smaller through sheds because I had mix on mine too.
I saw a video clip of one at a show out in Pennsylvania that was like all beat up and its chin was all jacked up and it had nematodes and it looked like it was in horrible shape. So like they can come in pretty rough shape. I've got an Amazon tree boa that has clear like scars and bite marks along his back. Like he battled, and that dude's savage. So so he's doing well, and I'm really stoked to do
that. What do you have him on right now? What are you feeding him?
He so far the first 2 meals he's gotten have been like little in between like fuzzy hopper size, but they don't really leave a belly lump. So the next meal he's gonna get is probably either gonna be like a full-blown hopper or like maybe a small mouse, something like that. Cool. But he's a good eater. I don't see him being picky. I would like to maintain a diverse diet for him as he continues to eat. So I will try and introduce,
chick or something.
Yeah, chick, quail. If he's into it later, some snakes. As a breeder, inevitably you get deceased babies or stillborns or things like that. And so far, my Cribos, handle that no problem. But I think these guys are known for being snake eaters in the wild, partially. So
we got a pretty funny story about that. Well, it wasn't funny in the moment, but in our quarantine building, we have most of our snakes in tubs right now. Just going through that process, and our female Apodora is in there. She's about 5 to 6 foot, and walking there one day, and she's just not in her tub. It's like, okay, cool, push to the side. And we're looking around. We see that the tub's open with a TSK Maxwell Line Calico green tree python. And it's like, okay, that snake's probably worth at least $5,000. And it's not in there. Like, all right, we open it up, and the freaking Apodora is sitting behind the tub. And Forrest and I look at each other like, no way. Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, we had this moment of like, did that really just happen? And actually, it ended up being like in the front of the room. It's like, oh my God, but like literally the most Ophiophagus species we have sitting behind this tub that had been pushed open. We're just like,
dude,
$400 import Papuan python has ate this $5,000 conjurer. Like, are you? But no, luckily
that was a good snack for him for sure. He was like,
thank God we dodged the bullet on that one, but that would have been a disaster.
No good.
Oh man,
it's just trial and error type shit. You know what I mean? It's so easy to get it. It's so easy not to push in a tub the right way and have a snake bust out.
Like even like the snake got out and pushed the tub open itself. Like actually, just crawl behind it.
I have a white lip who could almost get through anything. You know what I mean? It's like they're so strong, and if they want to get out, they'll get out.
Yeah,
I had my male white lip in breeding got out and was gone for like 48 hours. got under my snake room door and like crawled into a corner on another floor. I'm like, how the hell did you get over there?
But the good thing about a white lip is because, okay, I think it was the day I had my civil wedding where I was getting married at the fucking courthouse. I was in my snake room doing some last minute cleaning and obviously working with the white lip. And I was like, all right, so like, it's kind of calm. It was doing really well. And then I dropped the spray bottle and it just went ape shit. It took off. And
they're so sensitive.
I saw it go behind a rack and I saw it climbing up. So I was like, okay, it can't go too far. I know where it's at. So I went to go clean its water dish. As soon as the guy get back, no fucking sight of the white lip. I'm like, okay, obviously if it can't be too far. So here I am, like I got 30 minutes to leave and I'm tearing everything apart. Can't find the white lip. So basically I'm like, this isn't going to work. This white lip's obviously hiding somewhere where I can't find it. I kind of knew where it was at. So I left the room for like 20 minutes and then I went back, complete silence. And then you just hear like, because those white lips don't sit still after. If they think nothing is around, they move. They don't like to sit still for the most part. They're very active. At least mine are. They just like to keep moving. So eventually just going in there and just trying to hear any kind of movement, I was able to hear where it was at and grab the fucking bitch and put her in the back of her tub. And man, white lips, they test me, man. Those are the one snake that just, well, I only have one white out of the 4 I keep. I have one female that just, I don't know. Like I just don't know. She's one of my beautiful ones, like one I have, but she's a bitch. Like, and she just, it's always like, you got to be on your toes. It's never like, it's always a pistol, man. It's like, it's a loaded gun. You know what I mean? And I don't know.
Northern. He's the one out of the group. That's the dick.
See, I have my males that are not. My nails are calm, and my males aren't like, even if they kind of get like little, spazzy, they don't bite. They're just more like, kind of put me back in the tub. But the one female I have, it's like, even if it's on your arm doing really great and it's not tight on you, if you just walk in front of her, anything that comes in front of her, it's tagged. You're getting tagged. It's just
they're a bite first, ask questions later kind of snake. They're hyper reactive to everything.
Super hyper, super hyper. But at the end of the day, they're literally the most beautiful snakes. Like,
it's hard to beat them.
Yeah. Well, that's challenges, right? That's kind of, I think we're all here for a challenge. I think we all keep fucking some sort of that. Not a lot of people
scrubs.
But here we are. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Scrubs. Your Crebos, right? So I mean, this is we're rolling the dice again this year, right, Riley? We're trying to get a Crebo clutch. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, I introduced them around the time they should be going, and the male's super interested. He'll damn near rub his face off on the edge of the enclosure, and like I have to take him out and let him stretch and get energy so he doesn't do that. So I introduced him to her to see if like, oh, maybe he's picking up that she's cycling or something, because she is, almost 4. So she's like just on the verge of being a little too young, and so I put him in with her, and like she wasn't super into it. She was kind of like running away and like wagging her tail, like pissed off at him. And he was being gentle and just like kind of pursuing her calmly. But I didn't see any behavior to encourage that they bred at all. And I probably put him in there, 4 or 5 times just to like at least let him get his energy out while I was supervising in the room.
Right.
But I don't think she's quite ready. I think next year she'll definitely be ready. I showed some photos of her and like kind of to scale about how big she is around to a couple folks who I know who breed them, and they both said like, yeah, she's like right on the edge of being ready. So I don't think anything happened. So I think it'll be next year.
Well, I mean,
always next year.
Next year comes really quick. I mean,
it does. It's always on you real quick.
That's why you got to enjoy the ride, man. It's like, I can tell you right now, I remember like my first year, I remember looking at clutches and I was like, dude, I can't wait. You know what I mean? And it just goes by quick. If you're really having fun and you're doing it just for the fun, dude, the shit flies by quick. It really does.
Oh yeah.
You're not counting eggs before the ovulation. You're going to have a good time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When was your actual first clutch of eggs, Riley? When did you actually land? I mean, was it a ball python or what is the first thing you ever hatched?
Yeah, so here we go. First,
here we go.
First clutch of anything that I produced.
Steve was excited.
Was
let's go.
And I'll tell you, It was a normal ball python to a pinstripe ball python.
Oh yeah.
And that was 5 years ago. 5 years ago was my first clutch of anything.
2016?
2015. Yeah, whatever age the ball python in the bedroom is, because that's the one the girlfriend kept. The only male normal. She wanted him. So
wow.
But yeah, that was the first time I successfully produced anything. Then I guess I did get a clutch from a caramel albino, but I destroyed the eggs because I didn't know anything about incubation. There was only one fertile one, because I was like trying to see how those fertility issue rumors were. But and at that time I was starting to raise up Brazilian rainbow boas and stuff. So I did ball pythons for a couple of years, and then I started producing rainbow boas, and then the next year carpet pythons, and then I've produced carpets for the last 3 years, and then rainbows in 2016 and 2018, and then I've produced one Madagascar giant hognose.
So sick. I honestly, bro, like I was a huge fan of your carpets last year. Were they last year? The zebras, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, those were fucking sick. But that I'm not a hognose guy, bro. I never really understand them. No offense to people who keep them. I'm not a hognose person. But that one you produced, definitely next level. Like it's something. It's not a regular hognose. Like there's something.
Yeah, different. They're really different. Yeah, so they're nothing like the North American species of hognose at all. They're not even in the same genus. They're a great example of like divergent evolution. So they've evolved this similar adaptation on their own in two different trajectories, which is that shovel-like snout that they both utilize a lot for burying around, rooting up eggs, digging up burrows and nests of things to eat, because we all know they'll eat like lizard eggs, frogs, toads, buried down, things like that. But these guys don't have the keeled scales like the North American ones do, and they get much larger. There are 3 species on Madagascar. There's the speckleds and the golds and the general giants. And so the ones I produced was a giant, and their average size is 4.5, 5 feet. And so that's why it was kind of a surprise that I even got any fertile eggs, because I cohabitate them. And I thought for sure the female was like, if anything, she'd cycle, but like still too young to produce physically based on her size. And I was wrong. She produced 3 fertile eggs.
Wow.
And a couple slugs, which is a small clutch because they can produce, upwards of a dozen typically. But I kept them communally, not to try and breed them. I kept them communally because when I was housing them individually, they were just stressing out all the time. They were really like high strung. They didn't have anything nearby. And so anytime they interacted with another moving creature, it was me, which is this big, terrifying object because they're all imports. So I just decided like them, getting so upset, they're flinging pee all over the place and pooping all over the place. And like one, I have fantastic photos and video of it, but one, was going full cobra at me, like hooding up, sideways, standing up, striking, the whole 9.
Nuts.
And so I decided like they're way too high strung with whatever I'm doing. This is not working. So I put them in a cage way up here, and no lights, just dark. Yeah, just put them together with like a couple inches of substrate, like 4 hides and like 2 water dishes, and their behavior changed dramatically. I find them sort of like sitting at the edge of the glass, like looking over, like watching me, and they're like, "Oh, what's up?" But I come close and they're like, "Nope." And they dip out, but they're like, they don't fling pee at me. They don't go cobra on me. I can pick them up and, I'll get a little huffing and puffing, but otherwise it's usually pretty mellow. The baby's not bad at all. She's all right. She's just a runner. But they're as wild as you can get, they need a few more generations before we start seeing them, you know, a little more mellow like hogs, like the Western hogs and stuff. But they're awesome, dude. They're so much fun.
What is your knowledge on false water cobras?
I wouldn't say I'm super knowledgeable about them, but I have worked with them. They're fun.
I have a pair, and I feel like they're getting more psychotic. And I've had them since they were like little, and now they're getting close to breeding size. I think at the end of this year or early next year they'll be ready to breed.
Yeah.
But I feel like I went from being able to handling them to now I've actually smelled what real musk smells like. Like this shit reeks, bro. Like,
yeah.
I've never really smelled musk before until so my chondro that wrapped the other one, she was musking the whole time she was wrapping him. So I smelled that. That was death. But then I smelled a false water cobra musk. And
whole nother level.
Dude, I didn't know. Okay, so like as I picked it up, it sprayed, and I thought I thought it only dropped, but I looked and it literally AK-47. And it was like it looked like paint, bro. I was like, what? And like it was like in the crevices, and it just reeked. It smelled so bad. And the last couple times I've taken out I think it's okay, I forget. I don't know. Do you happen to know if the male gets bigger or the female gets bigger? Typically?
The males will get a little bit bigger in them, but they can be pretty close in size.
Okay, well, I mean, I've had these the same amount of time. I'm going on 4 years, and the females, obviously, it's the smaller one, right? And she's the one that's fucking flipping out. Like, I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? I know they've always been food aggressive and whatnot, but. I'm thinking, you know, maybe they're over their enclosure. Maybe they're over being in tubs. I'm kind of having to learn that about a couple other species. So that's why I have the arboreal room, right? So I'm thinking, I think that would be a good snake to put in the arboreal room.
I mean, so I have experienced them climbing a lot, definitely. The one I worked with was a 7.5 foot male, and when he didn't want to come out, he didn't want to come out. What he would do is he would climb up onto this huge branch under his like basking light, and he'd just sit up there and he'd anchor around everything. So if I'm like using hooks pulling him out, he's like, just nope, I'm just going back. I'm just going. It was, dude, he made me look silly.
They're smart too, dude.
Yeah, he made me look silly. But he would use that a lot. He also used this big pool. We gave him like this, just like a standpipe dropping sort of pool, or like maybe it was a valve outside, but just like a really shallow pool, and he would swim in it. He'd go to the bathroom in it, you know, bark chips and stuff. We'd spray it down, misting system, but he would climb on this big branch all the time. So yeah, I bet you if like you gave him more room, you could, well, I don't know. Who knows what their behavior will change to in that scenario. They can be kind of flighty and nervous snakes sometimes. But
yeah, for sure. I just feel like it's escalating. I feel like it's going to a whole other level.
You could cohab them.
Dude, I don't know, but I'm scared they'll eat each other. Like, I feel like they're so food aggressive that I feel like that's why I'm like scared to pair them one day. I'm like, dude, I mean, so back before my time at Santa Barbara, they had a pair on exhibit that cohabbed, and they lived together all the time. And what they would do is when they would feed them, they'd pull one out into a trash can off exhibit, feed that one in the can, and feed the other one on exhibit. And then what they would do is when they'd reintroduce, they just, you know, be very strategic in how they reintroduced at different areas, stopped and watched for a minute. And I think as adults, they get pretty good at smelling like fish or rodents or whatever it is that's food. And if they've been cohabbed for a while, they might already start to know each other. No guarantee. Like, I think that's definitely something to be concerned about. But yeah, they cohabbed for years and years. And the only reason they stopped is because the male like bred her so much. She had like a spine injury. So they had to pull her off exhibit. Jeez. That's so gnarly, man.
Yeah.
So
I think it could be done. I don't know if it would calm them down. I mean, it calmed my hogs down, but
I don't know. I feel like I'm in the snake trap too much because of other snakes like my retics and everything, to where that's the reason why I wanted to create the arboreal room, because, you know, arboreal snakes, if you do all their water at once and everything, you don't technically need to be in there every single day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As far as not work, you could go in there and glance.
Yeah.
But like, you know, a retic that, okay, he just shit today. he's good. No, that red tick will probably shit tomorrow. That red tick will probably have, I mean, they're just unpredictable. You know what I mean? And then I have Timors that do that too.
No.
Or Timors are related to the red ticks. So that makes sense. But yeah. So I mean, I feel like, you know, maybe they're over the chaos. Maybe they're over, you know, there's traffic being in the, you know, being around them. Maybe they'll be calmer if they're just.
I used to get up like 2 hours early before work to like go through every enclosure in here and then spot clean, and then come back after work and do the same thing. And I found that I was stressing the heck out of my snakes, checking on them that thoroughly twice a day. Some of them anyway, not all of them, but some of them, like in particular, like certain species were like freaking out because it was in their business a lot. And I don't know if like the scrubs are like that, Steven, but I would imagine like any of like the white lips or scrubs or, you know, certain species that are a little more like visual.
Definitely the white lips. I don't think scrubs as much as far as like frequency of messing with them. They're pretty confident snakes. So
yeah,
I feel like you can probably look at them every day, and I don't pull them out constantly, maybe weekly, but
yeah,
white lips for sure. Like I had my pair of adult northerns in cages last year when I was trying to breed them, and they were always hiding. You know, it was a pain in the ass getting them out, and I have them in just CB70 tubs now, and they're night and day different. You know, so much more chill. My female was already chill, but she's even better now. My male really calmed down. He would rear up and, you know, strike for minutes and then sprint and musk, and now he's not that bad anymore. Yeah, white lip musk isn't any fun either. I think
some animals really just some animals just like
levels
that.
to this musk shit. Like Jesus, like what?
Dude, fish eating stuff like garter snakes, bro. If you get a garter snake, like especially if you're out herping and you find a wild one and it like musks on your clothes will stink like that through like several wash cycles. Throw them away, dude. It's brutal.
Yeah, I think someone in the chat mentioned Nerodia earlier.
Yeah.
It'll get much worse than Nerodia.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh man.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? I don't know what you got, Steven. My mind just blanked around. I had something to say and my mind just fucking blanked.
Yeah, my MJ mind reading skills aren't really there right now. I'm struggling too.
What are you doing here? So never mind. Fuck Steven. Yeah, Riley. How's your podcast going? Let's talk about your fucking podcast. That's what I want to talk about.
It's just starting. So we're still early. We're still taking our lumps and tripping over our shoelaces as we speak. But
this is our second episode.
Cool.
This is our second episode where we can actually see who we're talking to. Our fucking first 5 episodes, we were using this other platform, Studio or some shit, but it was so bad. It was like man. Shit. And then luckily, shout out to Rude Dog, but Rude Dog was using this platform called StreamYard. And it's like, hey, let's just try this out, and now we can fucking see who we're talking to. But dude, trial and errors. You're gonna go through the podcast. We're not done with it either. We're still going through it.
Nope.
Yeah, we're still figuring it out. We haven't had a guest on yet. That's our next like speed bump we want to go over. According to whatever we use, Simplecast.
Okay.
And,
works good.
No, Zencaster. One of the two.
Okay.
Or we use both, but like one of them is the host and one of them is the platform. Anyway, it's so far pretty user friendly, and from what I've seen, in order to get guests on, it's as simple as send a link, click the thing in its email. So they have to sit down at a computer. So it seems like it's pretty simple. We just haven't done it yet. And so that's going to be like our next speed bump, I suppose. What we still want to figure out is like get a pre-recorded intro, like so we don't have to keep like, because if you've listened to ours, we were just like goofing off trying to get our timing right, and like it just sounds pretty silly, but it's fun, man. It's really cool, and like I'm sure you feel it too, like because other people have like broken ground on reptile podcast stuff. You sort of have like a format to follow, and then you just make it your own, and then it just ends up like, especially if you have somebody that like you can talk to as a friend and like somebody you enjoy already, have them on there. It's like having a friendly conversation, so it's dope.
This is like people watching what we're talking about. That's all it is. It's as casual as it can be. Like, you know what I mean? I tell all my guests, like, there's no structure to this shit. we're just shooting the shit. And obviously you have stuff that I have questions about, and that's what we're going to talk about. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like, and that's just, I mean, that's as simple as it gets. I mean, I'm sure maybe at some point we'll have like, you know, some sort of structure of like, all right, this is what we're, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's more on Forrest's side, because Forrest is all about pushing informational shit that matters. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's why I'm glad I teamed up with Forrest, because like, hey, I could shoot the shit, but like Forrest is trying to put out shit. Like he's trying to like, you know what I mean? Like he has a lot of informative stuff. Like he got me to understand what the hell Southeast Carpet Fest was all about. Like that's why I was like, all right, fine. I guess I'll hang out with Ian Bessel at the Ian Bessel was awesome, bro. But not only that, like I've heard about these Carpet Fests for the last 2 years. Didn't really give two shits about them just till more recently. And I'm like, fuck, this is important. You know what I mean? This is actually really good stuff that anyone who's in this community, anyone who's keeping animals needs to be a part of this. This is like, it's contributing to all of us. You know what I mean? Like, period. Like, I don't give a fuck who you get along with, who you don't get along with. It's just about the animals. This is about progressing in our collection and pushing forward. Right.
So a lot of people don't really get about the whole Carpet Fest thing is you don't have to actually be present to be involved in the mission, you know, like
just contribute.
The party and that aspect, you know, that's like that's where the fun is. But, you know, the real push behind it is, you know, like with Southeast, you know, nidovirus or, you know, even just US ARC or whatnot, you know, it's really like a community wide issue that is being pushed through, you know, vehicle of Carpet Fest, which, you know, spreads much wider than Melrose, Florida, or, you know, wherever these events are taking place.
Riley, you've been to a Carpet Fest, right? The West Coast one, haven't you?
Yeah, I helped launch the Southwest Carpet Fest 5 years ago with Terrell, April, Travis, Andy, and a couple other people. Tony. There's like a core group of like 6 or 7 of us, ranging from like where Brian and Travis are at in like Atascadero, all the way down to San Diego where Tony's at. Brandon, a bunch of us that we all sort of like became friends like organically online, because we're all sort of in the same, like, we all love carpet pythons. That was like our uniting thing. And carpet python groups, you know, they're still kind of niche groups. Like they're small communities because they have that stigma of being like either bigger than what most people want or a little more nippy and harder to handle than what an average pet keeper wants. And so you find that it's a lot of like small people here and there. And so we ended up, you know, just putting one together because we all listened to, you know, like the OG chapter on Morelia Python Radio, Eric and Owen, and they started one 9 years ago now that was just in like Howard's backyard, and it was like 24 people just getting together, hanging out. And there wasn't auctions or t-shirts, or there might have been a t-shirt, but like there wasn't anything else, you know? And it was just all based on bringing these guys that all shared this love together. And then what they realized is they had this great opportunity to build a community. And so it's sort of been contagious. And now there's 5 of them in the United States and 1 in the UK. And it's all about, you know, just, we all love reptiles. We all love these snakes. And it started with the unifying factor in these sort of oddball fringe niche species in carpet pythons. And we always tell people, like, you don't have to keep carpet pythons to come to an event, because it is just a social gathering. Like, it's not supposed to be like a good old boys club where like you can't come if you don't keep carpets. But, you know, anybody can come. It's a welcoming, open event, and it's grown into this thing where now like chapters have fundraisers that benefit the community in nidovirus research, in donating to US ARC, and whatever it ends up being. There's not too many like there's not like a governing body saying you can only donate to one thing or you can't do this. So it's kind of like open to whatever the chapter wants to do. And so the more people that get involved, the more it evolves around their interests and what's going on at the time and what they feel like doing. And so Southeast has been, you know, monumental in pushing the nido research and stuff, which has raised thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that wouldn't have otherwise been funneled where it needed to go. And it's made a huge difference. There's a lot more to come. So, but you know, it's great because it's just like, it's everybody just hanging out. It's just a barbecue. It's a social gathering. It's a chance to see somebody else's collection of animals and how they keep. And, oddly enough, now in this information and digital world, it's a rare thing to be able to get to just like connect with somebody who will willingly open their doors to come, hang out, share a meal, share this interest in animals, where otherwise, people might just kind of do their thing, stay in their lane, everyone's got their life. So it's nice to do it, and it's cool that it's around everywhere. So yeah, CARPETFEST is like you were talking about it earlier, with shows and getting started for people who really want to try and like make a name for themselves in the community and be a part of things and participate. CARPETFEST is a great example.
What's the deal with CARPETFEST in the West Coast? Like, when is it going to happen this year? Do you know?
I'll have to double check with the guys there. We always try for the summer, so it's going to be at Travis Johnson's house. His business is Living Legless. He's in Atascadero, which is 15 minutes from Brian. So he's
5 hours.
Brian Cusco. Yeah, so that's the thing. It's like equally inconvenient for everybody. So like if you're flying into San Jose, which is the closest north airport, it's like a 4-hour drive. If you're flying into LAX, it's a 4-hour drive north, sort of thing. So it's kind of like, it is what it is. It's in wine country, but there's also the Firestone Brewery there, which is awesome. They have tours during the week for free, and then like other ones, and then they've got good beer, good food right there at the tap house. Travis has a huge room full of snakes, a backyard, barbecue, fire pit, dogs, family. Dude, it's a great time. So we end up just having like a weekend where everybody finally gets to come back and reconvene. So I think it's sometime in June, but I will double check. It might be on the Facebook page there. What's that?
It'd be dope to be a part of that.
Yeah, man. I mean, every year it gets bigger. The attendance grows and grows and grows. Like we had a year where we had to have Brian put his drone up in the air to take a photo of everyone. It's pretty dope. So everybody's welcome. So
have you attended a CARPETFEST, Kush? Because I mean, your closest one to you'd be Southeast, right? Or
I haven't. Probably the Northeast CARPETFEST would be probably closest to me from a drive perspective, but I want to go down. I know Forrest does, to Southeast CARPETFEST. So Cody's coming up. Cody and Forrest have been friends forever, and I like to consider Cody a friend. And their facility is just immaculate down there. Really, you leave there feeling like such a piece of shit because you're not up to
it is.
And for a lot of us, we don't keep any venoms here. Most people don't. Seeing like a real professional private venom setup that is producing, that's how Cody makes his living. It really takes you back seeing just how well he can run that facility.
He's legit, bro.
Yeah, no,
I can't wait to have this dude. I mean, I love Riley. I'm glad he's here, but fuck, dude.
Yeah, no, the thing is though, if we have Cody on the podcast, he's a unique day. We gotta start at 3 p.m. your time, because that podcast is going until 1 a.m. And we don't even have to talk. We can just let Cody go,
I'm definitely glad Cody's on.
And you'll learn the entire time. That's the thing. He'll talk forever, and just you're learning the entire time. And you come away from it a much smarter person.
All right. We'll stop giving Cody reach arounds. We'll get back to Riley.
I have to go in for Forrest. He usually does this every time,
He's like, Cody comes to my place and just shits on me. But man, the thing is, dude, I love Forrest because he respects so many people. You know what I mean? Like he really does. And I mean, I remember I don't know. Forrest respects the shit out of you, Riley. I just want to say that right now, okay?
Yeah, he's the man.
Dude really loves you. He really respects your friendship. I respect your friendship. Steven fucking just follows what we do, but
Steven's a robot.
He was fucking does what he's told. But no, awesome. You're highly respected from Forrest, and I'm really glad you came on the show today. And you're doing sick ass shit, man. It's and you get to zookeep, which is dope. Let me ask you, long term wise, right? Where do you see yourself in the zoo? Like, let's just say 10, 15 years from now, like where do you really want to be at within the zoo?
I've actually been asking myself that a lot lately, and I finally realized it's the industry that means the most to me, and it's obviously what I enjoy doing the most. So if there's any way I could make it a forever career into retirement, that's the goal. the one thing that I am starting to realize is that my body physically can't like do all this stuff forever, like hunching through doors and trudging up lakes and doing all this, like, because there's a lot of heavy lifting and moving dirt and building exhibits and, you know, just a lot of outside work, cleaning pools, stuff like that. So physically, I think, you know, I'll have to accept the reality that one day I might need to move into more of a management position. But right now, like, I really like working hands-on with the animals, but I'd like to just keep climbing the ladder, you know?
It's a good point, because you think about it, when you're supervising, you're not going to be more on one-on-one the way you are.
Yeah.
And I feel like, man, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I'm sure there's things that you're on the clock. Like you got a list of shit you need to do, right?
Every day. Every day.
What if there's one animal you're not ready to leave? You're just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Like, dude, like there's just times where I'm like, I'm cleaning and I'll fuck around with one animal for way too long. And I'm just like, oh shit. Like, what am I doing right now? Like I'm all here on my stories and I'm like, all right, you know, let me make a post. All right. Let me make more, you know, it's like, how do you keep pushing forward? I mean, I'm sure.
Yeah.
This. What are your favorite animals that you work with at the zoo?
Well, I really like these Australian magnificent frogs that we got in. They're super cool. They make the coolest croaking and calling. They're absolutely beautiful. They're like, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches, you know, tip to tip. And they just get these like bright yellow spots in this yellow underbelly. They're like the most beautiful emerald green. They're like the chondros of the frog world to me.
Sick.
As far as like just the most beautiful. They're not the biggest, but they're definitely not the smallest. We're getting alligators soon. I'm actually going out to Florida in a couple of weeks. And we're going to go to this facility and bring in some 6 to 7 foot adult male alligators. The zoo's been advertising for it lately. They've got banners all over the place. You can come out to the zoo.
Before?
Yeah. I've worked with American alligators, Chinese alligators, and now both species of dwarf caiman. So we're bringing in 6. The team at the zoo is carving it all up as we speak. We had this perfect lake in this nice like kidney bean shape that's really conducive to running a group of animals. And so we're altering the perimeters, putting in new pumps and liners and just like making it this whole thing. And it's going to be awesome. So,
and this is Sacramento Zoo, right? We're talking about Sacramento Zoo.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
People, whoever's in Sacramento, if you want to know anything to do while you're in Sacramento, go to the zoo. Check out.
Yeah, it's fun. And like we were talking about earlier, like being able to, if you want to find out if you want to keep something or not, go see somebody else's stuff and decide, like, especially with the croc monitors, you know. I love venomous, and I think one day I would like to keep a couple choice species of my own, but right now I get to fulfill that itch by my job, you know. I keep a couple hots there, and that's, you know, that fulfills that need, you know, as much as I would love everything, you know, I could handle. But, you know, in reality, like I get to, you know, work with venomous still and keep my skills up and get that enjoyment that way. And it's safe. It's, you know, there's protocol, there's anti-venom, there's backups, there's teams, there's tools. It's great. So it's like the safest, most like awesome way to do it. So I love it. Yeah.
So how much you selling that anti-venom for?
Dude.
I don't know if you heard her fucking I don't know if you heard her interview with Joe SWITALSKI, but he was telling us how he had expired fucking anti-venom.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how do you have anti-venom? Like, how the fuck do you even acquire that?
You can, depending on the species you need it from, there are vendors all over the world. So there's vendors in the United Arab Emirates that you can buy, or like
black market type shit.
No, it's fully legit, but like that's just where it's synthesized. That's where it is, because it's the species over in the Middle East. So if you want to get that anti-venom, if that's the only place that makes it, that's where you got to order it from. And it gets, you know, goes through customs and airmailed, and it's super expensive for like domestic stuff. You can get Crowfab in the United States. If you want BioClon, you can drive down to Mexico and buy it. And BioClon's a new up and coming company that's like stepping the anti-venom game up for North American Venomous, from what I hear.
Go to Mexico, you get some ketamine while you're at it.
But yeah, there's venom or anti-venom producers in a lot of parts of the world for these various species, and it's not like you necessarily need any crazy permit or anything. That if you're hitting them up and you're like Joe Schmo somewhere, somebody might ask some questions, but you can just buy anti-venom.
It's nuts, bro.
Yeah,
I mean, it's because it's a one
cheap.
question. What's a vial go for?
Depends on what it is, but some vials go for $2,000 to $10,000 a vial.
But like the lowest too?
I've heard of affordable stuff. I think Bioclon's in the little more affordable range. I have this. It's more of like a souvenir at this point because it's 17 years expired and it's supposed to be refrigerated. But I have this cool little. It's SAMR polyvalent snake antivenom.
What?
Refined equine serum globulin, South African vaccine producers.
South African. That's low quality.
It's kind of cool.
Stripe in my book.
I opened it up and it's like all wrapped up. It's the foam, dude. It's like just like you think. So every species of venomous snake that has anti-venom for it, which is not all the species of venomous snake, by the way. If there's somebody making it, it's more or less available to either have your hospital or a doctor, approve an order if they're not going to let you just order it, but you should be able to do it. So, and it's like really cloudy. It's not clear. It's really old and expired. But like if this were refrigerated and fresh, this would be what you would use for something, some sort of Bitis or Mamba or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, it even tells you, Bitis, Dendroaspis, Hemachatus, Nada. Yeah. So,
Sav.
But so
you're anti-venom, Kush. Bust out fucking. I know you. Go ahead. We'll wait. You guys don't have any. Oh no, but you guys don't keep no venomous.
No, not now.
If you guys did, you would. I'm sure if you guys did to keep venomous, Forrest would have a fucking. Who knows?
Yeah, we'd have the entire freezer all organized with all the different species, and it would be over the top.
How come Forrest doesn't keep venomous? Actually, that's a good question.
I mean,
not that he needs to. I'm not.
At this point, it's just like that's not where his interests lie. Recently it's been like the monitors and the Abronia. He's done some venomous work in the past, but there's like a handful of species that we've talked about. He might have interest in keeping, but
sure,
it's not really his thing. I know I personally would like to do a little bit of work with venomous. I really love Southwestern and Mexican rattlesnakes. That's like really like the Willard Eye complex and the Lepidus and stuff like that. But Bothriochus as well. Looking at all the stuff Cody's doing, it's hard not to get
for sure.
But we have so much going on here that the last thing on my mind is
dude, venomous is a job, man. It's like there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is a job. It is not playtime. Like you got to be on it.
Especially with the rodent business. You can't go into that venomous room stressed out or tired or with your mind on anything else. You need to be as on point as possible, or you're gonna die. Like it's not like working with crocs or monitors where it's like you could just get seriously physically wounded, which might be even
like
you're just gonna die. Like
one bite could be donezo.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just like, it's going to take a lot out of your bank account. It's going to do a lot.
Oh, dude, quarter mil.
Some
quarter mil.
Huge hospital bills from rattlesnake bites, and you're just like, that alone is a reason not to keep them. Like $50 Western Diamondback could cause me $250,000, like in a heartbeat. It's like, oh shit.
Do any of you guys follow? You know who Seth Wildberry is? Seth, he's on Instagram. Seth, I think it's his last name Wildberry. Is that his last name? He's fucking big. He's booked as fuck. He's a white dude, and he has a brother named Mika, and his Mika's Instagram name is there is appear to be a Wildberry. But anyways, this dude got bit by, is it a Mulligan cobra or what are those?
Moroccan?
Moroccan, yes, my bad. A Moroccan. He got bit by a Moroccan. And holy shit, bro. Like, this was such a close call, man. Like, it was beyond a close call, and he's having to get multiple surgeries on surgery.
Oh yeah.
On where he got bit. And like basically his thumb is like this, it's not, it's not the size of his normal thumb. It's gigantic. So they have to do like they have to drain it and just do multiple surgeries. And like, dude, and they all keep a good amount of venomous snakes. They have this fucking hashtag called free handling Fridays, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
they're always showing them fucking holding a snake.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm a dumbass. Sometimes I hold my speckled, because I know her so well, you know what I mean? But I see shit like this and it just checks the living shit out of me. It's like, dude, like,
yeah,
I don't want. That's the last thing I fucking need right now. Okay, is to get fucking by a rattlesnake. You know,
a lot of reptile people have that kind of that personality, or you're chasing that adrenaline rush or whatever.
It's a high, bro. It really is. And
yeah,
it's a high because there's so many people like
But afterwards, and once you see something like that, you're like,
it's not worth it.
You get that like, wait, I just did that, but like I could be in his shoes right now. I'm like, damn, that wasn't worth it in retrospect, But that's my opinion. If you handle your snakes,
But I feel if you get to that point, it's like you're that guy who's like, I've seen fucking Point Break at the end, and he's fucking, just rides that wave. He's like, you're gonna kill yourself riding this wave, that, and he's like, I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you're going out happy. You know what I mean? You realize that you realize that you're keeping cobras, and like, who are those other fuckers that keep that shit? Do that Chris Sweet or whatever?
Yeah.
David's gonna be another, and those guys are sick. But I mean, Jesus, look what they're doing. They're handling fucking crazy venomous snakes in Thailand and shit like that out of the wild, and I feel like it's an adrenaline junkie type thing. It's like fucking, parkour and shit. Those damn Russians who are jumping off buildings. It's like, fuck, okay. You know what I mean? But it's kind of like that makes them happy. You know what I mean? It's nuts. I don't know, but I could, I don't know.
It's one of those things that can, set a bad example, but at the same time, it's like, hey,
to each his own.
Yeah.
Exactly. To each their own. But also it's also
gnarly.
Even if it does something bad go happen, it's going to give those other big mouths who are like, oh, why are you doing that?
Sure, it'll just bring bad energy.
Yeah, it's gonna be more told you so. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know too. But
throw a live mouse in with a rattlesnake and watch how fast it goes, and that'll be a nice reality check if you ever need.
Watch how many
visual demonstration.
Watch how many kick flips it does. 3.5 done. 1, 2, 3.
For real.
What was I gonna say? Fuck, dude. Venomous snakes. So what's your favorite venomous you work with at the zoo, Riley?
Well, we just got in a Santa Catalina Island rattleless rattlesnake, and it's this white phase because they can be like a tan color and a white color, and this one's all white with like these gold diamonds and a very white head, very like just profound eyes. It's very small. It's maybe 1.5 inches in diameter, and I'd say 2.5 feet in length, but no rattle. The tail does the white and black bars down at the end, like a lot of these native crotalus here do, and then at the end it's just got the little tip button like the tip of a rattlesnake and nothing else. And when it sheds, it just doesn't shed a new button or anything. So when we get the shed off, there's just a hole at the end. It just comes off. And that thing's really pretty, and it's really like goes from 0 to freaking out and running away pretty quick. So it's interesting. But that's a gorgeous one. My favorite species that I've worked with, and probably one of my favorite species period, is an Eastern Diamondback. And
they're huge, right?
Yeah, I worked with a 5.5-foot female in Santa Barbara who weighed like 8 or 9 pounds, and she was like, I'd hold her on hooks, and the hooks would bow just from her weight. And I'd have her on 2 hooks; they'd be bowing, and in order to hold her and support her without like, dropping her or like hurting my wrist, I'd have to choke up on the hooks and have the back of the grip back here. So I'd have
your hand's pretty close.
Instead of 42 inches, I'd have more like 30 inches.
Damn.
Dude, she's a big girl. She hated everyone too. She was mean as hell. Like a side profile, like a diamond like that, 5 inches across at the base. dude, big old head, size of your fist, just mean. Hated everyone, would strike at the door when you'd open it. When she'd hit the rats, you'd feed her, she'd just boom, just pound it. Beautiful animal, just really hated life. But I love that species, just an iconic American, gem. So
what gets bigger, Western or Easterns?
I've seen Easterns pushing 8 feet.
Okay, that's what I thought. Because Jay, I remember I don't know how long ago I was at Jay's, but I was at Jay's Prehistoric Pets, and he has a gigantic Eastern Diamondback.
Yeah,
that's like fucking like big, bro.
Yeah, think of a French bread loaf, thick around. Yeah,
the head is like huge. You know what I mean? The head is gigantic.
They're gorgeous. When they get that big, they have that huge black eye stripe with those big nostrils and the big pits right in their face. They're gorgeous, man. But man, when they sit there and they cock and load on you and they're just buzzing, and it's just, they mean all business.
Yeah, you're done. Yeah, you want to step away from that.
They're fun, man. I treasured every opportunity to work with that snake. I really enjoyed it. There's a whole nother level of focus that comes across you if you're taking it seriously when you work with an animal like that. Yeah, and it's just 100%. Afterwards you enjoy the rush because you're like, all right, she's locked up. Cool. Yeah. Now I can, dig that. But
I'm going home today.
Yeah. Yeah, once you close the door and it's locked up, that's when you celebrate and
That's how I feel every time I free handle. My speckle's named amino acid, so every time I free handle amino acid and I put it back in my enclosure, I go, yes, I'm not gonna fight with. I'm not gonna have to worry about my girl leaving me today or anything like that. I got bit, dude. It would be fucking bad, bro. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're not talking about me getting bit. I'm not getting bit, but ball pythons, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's your favorite? Okay, let's just say
we can talk ball pythons if you want. Like seriously,
but I don't want to. It's all Steven wants to do, and I don't want to get him rambling on it and stuff like that. So I just have a quick question. Okay, if you had no other choice but to breed ball pythons, that was it. Mm-hmm. God said, "Fuck that!" Right? All you're doing is breeding ball pythons. What would be like? What would be your ideal pairing of ball python? Like, what is it that you? Because I know there's a bunch of ball python people who follow you. You even follow a lot of ball python people. So,
of course,
what is it that you see out there that you're like, man, that's pretty impressive? Or what is it out there that you, even if you're like, wow, if I had to dabble into this, this is what I would do. Like, give us your give us your insight on that.
Yeah, if I were to go into it, paying attention to what Justin Kubilka is doing, he's pushing a lot of stuff. What Miguel's pushing, and then my local shop GX3, he breeds some ball pythons in the back, and I've seen some of his stuff too, and he's got a nice variety. And seeing kind of where the hobby and the market and the trends are going, I would say what everybody who's successful is doing is picking a gene that they like and they pioneer, and then they're going to take that, and then obviously double recessives is almost old news right now, right? Like people are going for albino clown pieds and ultramale clown pieds and this and that. So it's like triple recessives are now like what the heavy hitters are going, and now it's like layering genes on top of it. And it's honestly, what's cool is I'm seeing people paying attention to like what specific genes they're adding in to aim for a certain look. When they get it right and you see their vision and you see exactly what they were hoping for, were like just these certain genes meshed really well and just created this, whatever the look it was they're going for. I would say if you do anything with Desert Ghost and Clown, you're in the right ballpark. The only reason I'm like not saying specifically only that is because there's so much more out there. Like Tri-Stripe hasn't been explored enough yet. Ultramel hasn't been explored enough yet. Xanthic, dude, Xanthic needs to be on top. I'm sorry. After seeing what JD Constriction does with his Xanthic stuff, 100%. Making those black and white snakes, holy crap. I had the opportunity to film, so if you go back and look at Brian Cusco's Triple B videos and interviews from Pomona for the last couple of years, anytime there's macro shots, it's usually me taking the macros. So I get to see these animals when these breeders come up to Brian and do these interviews. So I've gotten to photograph and videotape, Nautinus and marsupial frogs and Borneo eared frogs and like legless lizards and bolins and get to see all these animals. And so a lot of times ball python people come up and they show these new morphs that they're producing, or just something that they've taken that was around for the last 20 years and just knocked it out of the park and reinvigorated it. And so I think exanthic stuff is awesome.
Exanthic is tough. It's a tough gene, bro. If you know what you're doing with that, and I think what's his name is, he's like the Nolan Ryan with that shit, bro. Like JD's like fucking killing it with that shit, bro. Like, and no one's. I mean, people are doing exanthic stuff I've seen, but not to that level. He has that shit perfected. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've seen it at the shows and shit. And also,
there's some undeniably beautiful ball pythons being produced today, man.
Bro, what about those?
So many people.
See those puzzles?
Yeah.
The thing is, puzzles with another gene is loked out. Imagine puzzle. Let's just say puzzle with like a desert ghost with a fucking exantic. Steven, can you even fucking process that in your mind right now? Because we all know how crazy you are about ball pythons. So, like, can you like really process that right now?
Dude, that'd be wild. No, that would be. Think about that. Would be sweet. No, I mean
that's nuts.
I still love ball pythons.
Yeah,
it's one of those things. It's.
You're never not gonna love them. They're a part of you, no matter where you go, no matter where you venture off to. That's like it's like your first girl. You know what I mean? Like, bro, that's your first love, bro. It's a ball python. I don't care how much you hate it. You know what I mean? That's your. You know what I mean? Well, because there are people out there who are known to do other types of species that they breed, but at the end of the day, like, I mean, dude, Nerd has so much crazy shit, but he fucking originated from his ball pythons. It started with ball pythons. You know what I mean? And that's. I mean, we all have to give it up to ball pythons. That's the
absolutely
that's America's favorite pet. I think. I feel like I call ball pythons the America's favorite pet. Other than dogs, but as far as reptile world, ball python is your go-to. Other than unless you're a bearded dragon type of person.
Yeah.
But
You know what I mean? They, at the very least, there's everybody's like introduction into everything else. So they're a gateway drug, and like in a good way. So hats off for sure.
100%. And that's that. Now that's the thing. Like I've told Forrest, one of my major influences behind this channel is because majority of the people that I follow and talk to are ball python people. My chondro community is like this big, and you know what I mean, so forth. But how I got started and brought into this was ball python. But at the end of the day, I started with ball python and started learning about other stuff, learning about other species that I was capable of keeping, that made me start a whole new addiction, a whole new avenue of things that, like I said, ball pythons are always going to be a part of the trap. You know what I mean? But like, man, like I am chasing the emerald dream. I love emerald tree boas, even though I had to throw one in the freezer last year. Like I had to go through some heartbreak with that shit, but I understand that that's why a lot of people don't keep these snakes, because you know what I mean? It's not something that you could throw in a fucking tub or something and not worry about it. No, it's getting something dialed in, and I kind of want that reward. I want to be able to have something thrive based off me having it dialed in, and especially when it comes to breeding. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of people could get in. Don't get me wrong. Keeping an emerald chondro isn't that hard. It really isn't. If you want to have it as a pet or whatever,
a setup, right? Yeah.
A setup is all you need, and know how to feed it, and you're fucking good. But it's the whole breeding thing. The breeding is that's when shit could go really, really frustrate. Like that's when things get frustrating, and that's when your heart really starts to get broken. Especially when you wait forever for a clutch, and out of 14, one makes it and that one dies. But whatever, I'm not bringing up little Chapo. But yeah, you know what I mean. That's the rush. That's the shit that you chase. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is, because of ball pythons, I'm you know what I mean, I'm keeping chondros now. I'm keeping emerald. I'm keeping fucking olives. I'm keeping Timors. You know what I mean? It's awesome because it brought me to all this. So that's why I kind of want, you know what I mean? I have a lot of ball python people hitting me up like, hey man, let me know if you produce a chondro, and I'm like, no, bro, I'd rather rather send you to Joe SWITALSKI or Dan or somebody who's because if I produce a chondro, I'm not getting rid of it. I'm keeping it. I don't give a fuck. if I ever get to that point, I'm probably not selling it. You know what I mean? Once I'm like on my like third or fourth clutch, okay, probably, or once I'm Stephen Cush and fucking killing it, then I'll start selling it. I just want one to just feed. I want to be able to feed one for a year at least, before I even think about pricing it. But anyways, that's what I want. You know what I mean? I'm here for a challenge. That's why I like. You know what I mean? I know Steven likes challenges. I know you like challenges, obviously, Riley, because all you do is work with animals. Shit, your day's you got a different day every day.
Yeah, for sure. It's fun though. Like that's the only way to be is like to enjoy what you're doing, right? So
100%. If you're not having fun, then it's like you got to figure it out. I mean, it doesn't say like you got to have a job that you love, but there should be doing something in life that you do love. Like what I mean? You got to find something. It shouldn't be all work, no play. You need to have some sort of outlet that you could enjoy doing, because if not, you're gonna become you yourself. Humans become animals. They become fucking caged animals after a while, mentally and all that shit. And I'm just talking from experience. So I swear to God, these animals have just, you know what I mean. I give so much to them because they made me learn about so much about myself. But dude, they're my outlet, dude. They're my therapeutic fucking, people who love doing cardio and all that shit. You know what I mean? Like this is my cardio. This is like my outlet, even though I should be doing cardio, but I fucking love being around these snakes. I don't know what it is. I could be a shitting fucking angry ball, pissed off at the world, and as soon as I hit the trap and I fucking smell that, that first tick fucking shit or whatever the hell is going on. Once I know that there's things to do, I just do it. Do you ever feel like you're a piece of shit and you just don't want to do nothing in life? You're like, I don't want to do nothing, but as soon as you get into your snake room, it turns on. And then next thing you know, you're just fucking, you know what I mean? Everything outside the snake room could go to shit, but your snake room is 100%. Everything is fucking great. You know what I mean? Everything is. I don't know.
Yeah. It's very true. I couldn't agree more with that, dude. Like when things are in order here and I can come in here, it's definitely therapeutic. Nothing wrong with that.
How long have you been selling snakes for, Riley?
So, that first year I produced ball pythons, I sold them. So that was the first time I was selling them, but I had started picking them up like again, like in sort of like a hobby style like this, probably in 2012, whenever I started at Santa Barbara, and I like reinvigorated myself with like purchasing snakes. Yeah.
How do you deal with customers? I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, do you have to, because let's be honest, we all have the, we all have that person, okay, aka me, who posts like, can't, gotta ask my wife first, can't buy this, you know what I mean? It's the tire kicker shit, you know what I mean? So, I think it's funny. More likely, I don't care. I'll deal with them, but I just think it's funny. But I mean, what's your experience with that?
Oh, I mean, as soon as you start selling snakes, inevitably you run into that. So my experience is probably the same as anybody else's as far as what they've heard. We've all heard, everything in the book. Like, I got to get approval from my wife, or I got to wait on the check, or, whatever it is. And, assume it's legit, give them the benefit of the doubt. But if you don't ever want to be taken for a fool, you don't want to have to deal with the headache of like having somebody like back out of something. Use a non-refundable deposit. Doesn't have to be anything big, but like pick a number where it's significant enough where you think they're not going to want to just walk away from it. And it could be something as simple as like $30, $50, depending on what the snake. Yeah, if you're selling $1,000 snake, we're talking more, but. Yeah, because what most folks don't understand from a buyer's perspective is as soon as you instigate conversation, you're using that person's time. And if, you take up a lot of their time and then you just like lowball them or dick them around or try and come up with unreasonable demands about a payment schedule and things like that on $100 snake, like you're going to really eat up their time and they're not going to benefit from it. So I just try to look for the red flags early. If somebody messages me, I try to, if they say certain things that tell me that they're either experienced with, purchasing online or dealing with certain species, they'll tell you right away and how they approach you. If somebody's just like, hey, you got any snakes for sale for $100? It's like, no, I'm not dealing with you. But if you're like, hey man, I'm looking for jungle carpets, do you have anything like that? Then like I already know they're educated enough to at least have sort of done some research at that point, so you can sort of gauge like how much effort I need to put into it. But if I can tell somebody's just looking for whatever, they just found that they can spend money online and have a snake shipped to them, I'm just gonna kind of like, you're like, nah, maybe you should go look somewhere else. Like I try not to be like terrible about it. Depends on the mood I'm in. If you're gonna be like rude and just start throwing shade and just like ripping on my prices and trying to cut me out, I'll tell you straight up, like, take a walk. But fortunately, I don't have to deal with that too much anymore. You get to a certain point where, like, if you don't have any reputation or anything, and you haven't established your name with a certain species, but you're putting yourself out there, you're going to get all sorts of people. But as soon as you start getting known for certain species and things like that, it does die off a little bit. Right. If you get real big in a species, I could see you getting all sorts of requests and odd inquiries. But you just, pricing things a certain way filters that out. So if you're talking a high value animal, that tends to cut out a lot of, people who just don't have the funds to play with that kind of money.
Yeah.
But if you're talking a couple $100 snakes, you're inevitably going to deal with it. And it's just kind of, I just try and compartmentalize that moment and say, just get through this, push them on their way. You're not going to sell to this person. It's not going to be worth it. Like in the end, you got to ask yourself, like, is it worth going through the hassle and potentially putting the animal's life in a precarious position for like $100, $50, whatever it is? Or would you mind like holding on to that animal for a little bit longer and finding another buyer, So you just can't sweat it, because it's just going to be the reality of it. The only thing we could try and do is find a way to communicate to the public, a better shopper or customer etiquette, in some format, so people can be more informed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but I've done it, it's kind of like your early lumps, like as a buyer, like you're like, well, I don't know, how do I trust you? Like, I'm sending you money and then I'm supposed to expect you to send me the snake. Like, so there's some lumps you go through, and you got to learn how it goes as a buyer as much as selling snakes, but it's two totally different perspectives.
Yeah. But that makes sense.
That's where also buying from somebody, at least for the first couple times, can save you a lot of headache too.
Hell yeah. I always prefer going that route, buying through somebody credible, or at least somebody if you can, but
yeah, if you can get a reference, or at least be able to look them up and see that, other people are reviewed, that they're like good. Because, Facebook has reviews for business pages, websites, things like that. You can do, 10 minutes of clicking around online and find out if you're going to, get run around or not. So,
sure.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to do some wrap up questions. Do you have anything for Riley, Steven? Anything off the top of your dome?
Not at the moment, but if something comes up, I will ask you. Yeah.
What does that mean?
If I think of a question, what do you got? You seem to have your wrap up questions.
I always got fucking questions. I'm fucking dude. I rap. I freestyle too. In case you needed to know. Okay, I'm like I don't need to wait for anything. Like I have 3 questions on top of my head right now.
Well, ask 3 questions. I'll tell you right now.
Wait, give me a minute. Riley, real quick. I do want to know though, how did you link up with Brandon Wheeler? Because I just met Brandon, fucking guy's real close to me. I can't wait to hang out with him and stuff like that. But how did you and Brandon come across?
I met him through a mutual friend in Tony Dorer, who keeps carpets, yellow anacondas, elephant trunk snakes. He also lives in the area. But I met him through Tony and Travis. Travis, who is hosting CARPETFEST, has known Brandon since they were like teenagers. They worked like in reptile shops together down in, I think it was somewhere in SoCal or something like that. And they go way back. They go like decades back. And so when I met Travis, he was like, "Oh, dude, yeah, I know who he is." And then I had like other mutual friends, and it's just like we just all overlapped. In like sort of the same community of friends, and so it just kind of worked out that way. But yeah, he's a cool dude.
Yeah, dude, he's been wanting to link up, and because I'm trying to I don't have anyone in my area that I kick it with that keep reptiles. I mean, nowhere nearly my level. The only dude who owns a pet shop, and I just I don't know. So Brandon's definitely been somebody I've been wanting to link up with, but I thought it was cool that you guys, I thought it was awesome. I got to hang out with all you guys. Right there after the auction, you had a good Ian Bessel's room. Wait, did I say his name? My bad. No, but we had a good time. What did we do after that? I forgot. I don't know, but we had a good time. It was fun.
We hung out in the hotel bar.
I
lounge area.
I think me and Mauricio dipped out right after that because we had to drive back to San Diego.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The next show is going to be in Anaheim as well, right? Are they keeping it in Anaheim, or what are they doing?
I think for the the August one, it might be back at Pomona, the original spot. I think for the bigger January one, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
I mean, I thought Anaheim was good. It was more spread out, but there was a lot of like booths that didn't get loved because the way it was set up. Like it was way more like where Brian's booth was at. Like it was more popping on that right side.
Yeah,
like
it was.
Everybody was flooding at, and then the whole left side was like just kind of forgotten almost.
Yeah, it was interesting. And then there was like a world's best veggie slicer booth and like random stuff that had nothing to do with reptiles. Which, like, I get it. We all have family and friends that probably do other things. So.
Put that on the left side.
Oh yeah, put that stuff in the back or whatever. Put the reptiles up front. So, but yeah, I mean, I hope it has more growth over the years. I hope it continues to grow. It's done nothing but grow over 20 years. So, dude, it was huge, man. It was so big.
It was. Hopefully we could get Steven and Forrest out there in August.
Yeah, man, that was a sad weekend, not being at that show. It looked like it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was cool.
I think August is going to be popping, though. August should be fun. So
yeah, it's always fun. I mean, I haven't missed that show in 6.5 years now.
Yeah, the one I went to about a year ago, that was my favorite reptile show I've ever been to. That was
fun.
A weekend, yeah.
Fuck yeah. Well, did you think of your question yet, Steven? Or I mean,
you got your 3 on tap,
What's that?
You still got your 3.
Oh, fuck it.
You're talking a big game. What's your 3 questions, MJ?
Oh my god, really? All right, cool. Riley, what's your middle name? Fuck.
Aspen.
Okay, what's your sign?
Gemini.
There you go. Fuck off, Steven.
Pretty standard, but pretty good question. Next project you see yourself getting into, pretty heavy that you haven't.
Oh,
that was a powerful one, Steven. Good job.
Oh man, I think it's just begun. It's the Apodora. I think it's Papuans. Yeah. I've got a choice. I think I've got my mind in the right place. We're moving forward. I'm going to direct things to incorporate multiple of them in the overall plan. So
nice.
What I'm doing right now is evaluating the bigger picture as far as what I currently keep. And I might end up thinning some things to make room for them if I have to. But ultimately, my goal is to buy a house with my lady,
nice.
and then have a bigger space for the snakes, whether it be like an insulated garage, a bigger guest bedroom, or putting a shed out back that's like big and insulated with an HVAC system. But ultimately, I need more Papuan pythons.
That's one of those projects where if you want to be heavy to do it, you need multiples. You can't just have one of,
Yeah.
A lot can go wrong with Papuan pythons.
You're kidding yourself. I'm not gonna have a pet Apodora. I'm having a fucking goddamn group of them, bro.
Like an arsenal.
I will sacrifice some shit. I'll kick some ball pythons off the goddamn trap.
Well, so you know how a lot of folks,
a
lot of folks will breed like one species, and that's like their bread and butter, and it'll fund, everything else. The carpets and the rainbow boas so far right now are my bread and butter, and they're funding everything else.
Yeah, you gotta have the capital, bro.
Yeah, so I mean, no slouch to carpets and rainbows. Carpets have to be my favorite species, hands down. Like, don't get it twisted. Morelli are my first love, but the fact that they also can fund other things is like icing on the cake with them.
For sure.
I just need more room.
That was the issue.
Okay. Yeah. I see my dreams every goddamn morning. Stephen Cush posts a story of his scrubs locking. That's my dream.
Yeah, congrats on that, Stephen. That's awesome.
Fucking sight I've seen. Probably 2020 just started. I don't think it's gonna beat that. I mean, other than me marrying my girl in fucking a week. I say my stuff. You see that? She's watching right now. She's but yes, dude, you're fucking scrub locking in their Barnecks. They're gorgeous. They're I mean, I got rid of my Womanians because I just want to focus on Barnecks. Like, I love Barnecks. I love this tiger striping, all that shit. And Steven, you're excited. You're stoked.
I'm trying to hold it back, just in.
Yeah, I feel you. There's a lot of game left. There's a lot of game left for sure.
Yeah, but man, I don't know. I think maybe the moment in my breeding career, even though I haven't really been breeding for too long, that could beat it right now is hatching green tree pythons. But if I got a clutch of those, I might just quit. I'm like, all right, I got it.
You're not gonna quit, fucker. You got way too much.
It'd be hard to beat a clutch.
I would hope you'd quit. Not really, but I'll take your fucking Oppadors off your hands. That's for sure.
Yeah, for real.
Ship that 2.1 and give me your chondros while you're at it. Oh, you have some good chondro locks too, man. I'm excited for Stephen Cush's projects.
Dude, all the projects y'all have going over there are sick.
Yeah.
Every day, just like we've had a few emerald locks. Just
what hasn't locked yet, other than the Timors?
Timor. My one I really would like to happen. I haven't seen yet of the inland carpets.
It's early though for them, right?
You haven't even flossed. You haven't even flossed it yet. I haven't seen a story.
Yeah.
Have you?
I paired them up. They've been courting and stuff. I haven't seen a lock yet, but I don't know, from how they've been acting, it wouldn't surprise me if I got something out of them. But another one of those where it's like, see what happens. That'd be
fucking heavy, bro.
If you produce those, I need one.
Dog, I want a Barnett, bro. Oh man. Dude, you're gonna have the fucking produce, bro. You're gonna be like fucking El Chapo in the game if you get all this shit produced. I'll tell you that right now.
I mean, this,
you're gonna rape motherfuckers. You're gonna tax me. You already know it.
The Abronia, like every year, that alone is enough to keep us occupied. Forrest is really behind all that, but really, being around him, just how excited he is about them, just it's got me hooked. I got the addiction full on too. Could have tree monitors going this year if we get lucky, and black trees primarily. Chondros, we got some pure Kofi out pair that locked. Those babies are notorious for being impossible to get to eat, so that'd be a real chore. Emeralds, obviously, we got 3 locks so far from emeralds. It just, the list is ridiculous. Cora trifasciata, the golden coin turtles, like
sick.
That's so looked out.
Hey, I need to pick your brain on how to breed those. By the way, I've got a trio at work.
Like we just threw them in a big waterland tub outside, and within 5
they cycle.
Locked.
They cycle.
It was just luck. I don't know, from on our end.
Okay. But, nice.
I don't know if we get eggs from those, that'd be pure luck. But that'd be amazing to get some eggs from that female.
Oh yeah.
I know nothing about turtles.
I don't know a whole lot about turtles either. All I know is that I really like those guys.
I know very little about turtles. Very little.
I know Ninja Turtles. I know I love pizza.
Yeah, Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles. Okay, last question. Who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
Leonardo.
Steven.
Sure.
What? Steven, are you okay? Are you drinking moonshine again?
No, you can look around.
Are you just gonna skip who your favorite ninja? I don't even think you know who the Ninja Turtles are. He was born 11 years ago.
I think I used to watch that, but I don't know, man.
I think I used to.
What?
It's been 2 tunnel vision reptiles for too long, man. I'm like,
dude, Steven's a different breed. Like, he's not even I mean, he's kind of a millennial, but he's not. He's just a different.
Young to be a millennial, like
Steven, you know what these are? This is a Ninja Turtle, bro.
Your phone's a little too washed out, but
I see Donatello already. So
there you go. There's an angle.
Those look like fucking animes or animation, or that looks like Japanese. Steven's not gonna recognize that. Look, you heard of Pirate Bay, Steven? That illegal website you could download movies. Anyways, go to that website, type in Ninja Turtle, then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990. No, that's serious. Type in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990.
Yep.
Download that movie.
Yep.
Okay. Find out who April O'Neil is. Okay.
Yep.
Find out who the Splinter is, and find out the fucking domino scene where he drops the damn pizza down the sewer, and after being late, he didn't pay for it. You need to figure that out, Steven, or I'm going to be pissed.
Yep.
I got some homework now.
I'm just kidding. All right. Riley, this has been a fucking great time, man. I'm glad we got to bring you on the show.
Thanks for having me on.
Riley Reptiles. It's Riley _reptiles on Instagram. Is that right?
Yeah, Riley's Reptiles. With the underscore on Instagram, and just Riley's Reptiles on Facebook, and Riley Jameson on YouTube, because I
Riley
still sort of do that.
Coffee and carpet, or what is it? It's a
so Carpets and Coffee morphed into the podcast. So I'm probably just gonna leave the YouTube just for once I'm not lazy, actually putting together nice showcase videos of certain species and things when I feel like it. So
awesome.
But mostly my efforts are going to be now on the Reptile Room podcast, which you can also find under that name on everything. So
okay, great. We'll put that information in the description below. Riley Jameson, man, the fucking good homie, man. If you guys ever see him out in the shows, go say what up. He's one of the nicest guys I ever came in contact with. Very informative, and yeah, man, he's a good guy to have on your side, man. So Riley, I appreciate you coming through.
Yep.
Steven, do you have anything you want to say before we exit out?
Nah, man, keep doing what you're doing. Have fun.
That was a great show, man. It was really awesome having you on.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. I can talk reptiles any day.
Oh yeah,
all day, every day. I know we all can. So
yeah, for real.
All right, peace out, Riley, and then all right. Steven, you have a wonderful night. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for stepping in, and
my pleasure.
Being the best side of Forrest. You're the
right.
You're always coming through for that guy, bro. I gotta say, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, man, he's just Forrest has done more for me than almost anybody in my entire life. Next to my parents, so I'd do anything for him. Just my mentor in this business and in life. Couldn't say enough good things about Forrest. We can do an entire podcast of me just talking about him. So.
I could fucking tell you that right now. Yeah. And we're still going to look, guys, stay tuned, because we will have Stephen Cush as a guest, actually as the guest.
Who's that guy who's always sitting there quiet for 3 hours? Who is that guy?
Hey, at least you got headphones now. At least you could listen. Fucking
right? Yeah, man, the JS episode, everyone's like, why is Steven sitting there? Like, because I can't hear.
You're like this.
I don't know what they're saying. I'm like, oh yeah, that's
Steve,
funny. Oh, wow. I'm like, I can't hear. All I can hear is Forrest talking once every 5 minutes. Like,
oh my God, Stephen Cush, guys, please follow him on Instagram. Steven Verdes, is that? Yep, Verdes, and the fucking kid is doing amazing shit. God damn it, Steven. You honestly, I'm looking up more than your guys' projects to anybody out there right now, because
I appreciate it, man. That really means a lot.
You got the emeralds going, you got the chondros going. Jesus, you have you have the My Dreamy Scrubs going. All your hard work's paying off, man. And what's awesome is that you got to partner up with, we both got to partner up with somebody who's fucking, in my opinion, one of the most powerful forces in the community. Yeah. Forrest doesn't like to give himself any credit. He's very hard on himself, but Forrest is the fucking man. The whole team over there, Desiree, you guys are all working as a team, and you guys are killing it. I mean, not only do you guys have one of the nicest collections in America, if not the world, but you guys are producing the fucking freshest, most amazingest rodents, shipping anywhere in the United States, $30 flat rate shipping. But yeah, you guys are killing it, man. Good job, Steven. I'm done. I'm not sponsored by Cold Blooded Cafe. I'm just saying they're fucking awesome. They're amazing. If you really have a collection that's on frozen thawed, you need to go to coldbloodedcafe.com. Yeah. Check them out, because I just got 3 fucking boxes full of rodents. I didn't see not one turd in any of those.
Where'd you go, bub? I don't know if we're still live here, but I was a customer of Cold Blooded Cafe before I started working here, so I can speak from experience. I've got rodents from all over the place. Once I saw their quality, there was just no going back. And then actually seeing the process here and being a part of it, I'd never go anywhere else. So Cold-Blooded Cafe, man. It's where it's at. $30 flat rate shipping anywhere in the United States. I can't tell if I'm still live or not. Actually, let's see what this is about. Yo, what's up? Are we live still? Oh, okay. This would be really funny if we are live. I think we are, man. I'm talking to you on all right. If I am okay, I got confirmation I am live. Okay. MJ's on the phone. He got cut off the stream. So I guess for anybody who's still watching or listening, thank you for tuning in. Southeast Carpet Fest, you know, we can always plug more Southeast Carpet Fest, but really for a good reason. Nidovirus research is, you know, really it's where it's the evolution of python keeping in particular, but really,
oh my God,
be going. I'm doing Southeast Carpet Fest, man.
All right.
Can I hear you? You there, MJ?
I can't hear nothing.
Man, you're my Southeast Carpet Fest promo.
Dude, how come I can't hear nothing?
And this is a shit show, man. What happened? A few too many dabs.
Yo. Can you
hear me? I can hear you.
Why can't I hear anything? I'm so pissed.
If anyone's listening on you know fucking Apple Podcasts or Spotify, this makes great audio content right now.
I can't hear anything from Steven. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, we're gonna sign off right now. It's so funny. We were just talking about mishaps. Put the dabs down. I don't even got no dabs. I got kicked off and I just got back on.
Saying you got no
What's
dabs.
pissing me off is I can't hear Steven now. But anyways, guys, what a good episode. I had a good time. Steven, you're the man.
You are.
Jesus Christ. I need to go stop. I need to stop smoking live now. I'm done. Have a good night, Steven. I'll see you. I'll fucking hit you up tomorrow. You know what it is.
Yep, for sure.
Good night, guys. Have a good one. See you next week. Oh, like.
If he left me live again, I'm just probably going to talk more about Southeast Carpet Fest. Am I still live? Yep, I'm still live. All right, Southeast Carpet Fest, Melrose, Florida, Terrestrial and Arboreal. Got an auction for nidovirus research. It's live right now on Facebook. I don't know if I can sign off on here. I think that's MJ's thing. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Until next week, take care.